Svadinje smikedi o julinlet hiri varuvi hiri varinjeho elendein o julinlet Mash kunwas guchte ganye Mash lepi guchte yemin Oh julinlet Hiri varuvi Hiri varinjeho Elendein o julinlet Mashen tjesk toch einen gjane Mashen ronje dan nog kvare o julinlet Hiri varuvi
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to virtual Tacoma Little Theater and a live staged reading of The Legend of Robin Hood by Nathan Makaryk, based on his novel Nottingham and directed by Eric Furheim. We're so thrilled to be with you here tonight, and thank you for joining us this Saturday evening, May 9th. We know that it's been a long intermission that we've all been on, and this is one of our ways that we can help bring some live theater back to your lives. If you feel so inclined tonight, please feel free to stop over to the Tacoma Little Theater website, www.tacomallittletheater.com, and there's a donate button. We'd love to see your support for bringing this production to you this evening. Now I will turn it over to Nathan Makaryk, our author, and Eric Furheim, who are going to give you a few words.
Hello, I'm Nathan Makaryk. I wrote this play as well as the novel Nottingham. I'm old friends with Eric Furheim, and he asked me to come and help out with this event and step in to kind of explain a little bit about where the play came from and its origins. I first wrote this play in 2011, largely because I was just unhappy with all of the other Robin Hood stories that were available out there, be it them in book or movie form. I'm a co-owner of a theater here in Southern California, and I was mounting some shows, and Robin Hood was an idea of one that we could put up. And because I couldn't find anything that I liked, my theater partner just sort of challenged me to say, well, why don't you write your own version? And I did. And I do love everything about Robin Hood. I love swords and castles and archery and kings and everything. That's my proverbial jam right there. But Robin Hood specifically, the things that I've never liked about most of the retellings are very much in line that, you know, the good guys are so unbelievably good and the bad guys are so nefariously evil. And I just don't like seeing the world in terms of that kind of black and white. I really wanted to explore what the shades of gray were in between them. So I wrote this play. I hope that you enjoy it. That did translate into the novel years later. So a lot of people had great reactions to this play and said, hey, what are you going to do with it next? And the answer was to novelize it. It took many, many years. I started writing it in January of 2013, and the novel was just published about 8 months ago by Tor Forge Books. And I'm very fortunate to have a big publisher like that backing me on this. So it's been an incredible journey for me. Obviously, if you are if you're capable of helping out right now, please donate to the Tacoma Little Theater. If you're interested in the novel, again, the title is Nottingham, and you can purchase it anywhere where books are sold. I would encourage you, please, to look to maybe consider an independent bookstore since they're struggling the most right now. Also worth noting that the novel does have a sequel called Lion Hearts, which is coming out in September of this year, and that is available for pre-order as well. So if you would like to find out what happens after the curtain closes at the end of this event, then It continues in novel form. I also want to point out that I will be participating in the read-through as well. There will be sections where I'm going to jump in, and I'm actually going to read some excerpts from the novel to replace sections where the play script just can't show you what the action is. Like, we noticed that when you read a play script, stage directions don't quite do the justice of a fight. Oftentimes in the script itself, it'll just say something like, there is a big fight, and that's not really enough. So we decided to pull some excerpts from the novel to describe those fights or other moments that we thought needed some little extra gravitas. So I'll be jumping in for those moments if you're curious why all of a sudden there's this ugly, gangly guy who's clearly not in a forest talking. All right, so I think that's it. Unless Eric's got any further ado, I believe we're going to kick off The Legend of Robin Hood.
Let's do it.
Act 1, Scene 1, Sherwood Forest, a road. Lights come up on a path running through Sherwood Forest, Nottinghamshire, England, in the year 1191. It is daytime, but the trees are thick and block most direct sunlight. Starting off stage, we hear two men, Robin of Locksley and William de Wendenell, both dressed in studded leather, each carrying a pack, bow, sword, and quiver.
It even smells more like home, doesn't it?
Funny how easily that takes you back.
We'll have plenty of time to smell it.
Oh, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Ah! I knew it would open up on me again. A message for King Richard. We received your men after they crawled through the Sherwood, but we regret to say that by the time they arrived, the war was long over.
Not at all. To the king, we received one of your messengers, a devastatingly attractive man whom we've since anointed as duke. Another man was curiously found dead in the woods, having taken his own life in embarrassment for having lost the horses.
I didn't lose the horses.
Well, I certainly didn't lose them.
Bleeding again. We'll get new horses in Clipston.
You'll get new horses in Clipston.
I'll get new horses in Clipston. If I had the crown right now, who would refuse a horse to King Richard the Lionheart?
With that limp, rather Richard the Clubfoot. You'd best hope it heals right, or you'll be out the guard.
Oh, I'm sure the fellow who shot me thought quite a bit of himself. I've shot the king, he'd say.
Yes, I shot him. Wondrous thing, though. An hour later, I saw him running through the field as though nothing had happened. The king must be invincible.
Looked as if he were 20 pounds heavier, even.
Where would Richard be without us?
He is without us. Let him wear his own crown for a bit. It's not my crusade. I'm more than happy to go looking for missing supplies.
On foot, we may not make it to Nottingham Castle by nightfall. If we can't find horses, we may want to head west to Derbyshire. Find quarters for the night.
We're not far from my father's estate, but we'll get the horses, and we'll get to Nottingham.
And then we'll get drunk.
Agreed, King William.
Agreed, King Robin.
At this, Will Scarlet and Elena Dale slink out of the shadows. Both young men, they playfully circle around the rock, but do not draw any weapons.
Did you hear that, Alan? We're amongst royalty.
I didn't realize we had more than one king.
Didn't I mention that I'm a king?
You know, you may have, but I couldn't hear you over my own kingness.
I'd advise sneaking up against members of the king's personal guard unannounced.
Unless you have a reason for this interruption, I suggest you move along, gentlemen.
The king's personal guard?
Which king?
Me or him?
King Richard the Lionheart.
Never heard of him.
I thought he was the king's name was Henry.
That sounds right. He's the one who has that face on all those pretty little pieces of gold we've been finding, isn't it?
That you've been finding. Your luck is quite extraordinary.
It is! Thank you! You see, whenever we come across a couple of kings like yourself, which seems to happen all the time these days,
All the time?
we find more and more gold. Sometimes on the ground, sometimes in their pockets, sometimes in their hands, which we have to pry open.
Which is why we prefer to find it on the ground.
And we prefer this to happen quickly.
Gentlemen, we are expected at Nottingham Castle by Baron Roger de Lacy.
Ooh, the sheriff's waiting for them!
This is not a fight you should be picking.
Whoa, who said anything about a fight? Will, did you suggest a fight?
I never said that word.
We were in fact downright civil.
Until the good king here, with his boot in his hand, started issuing threats.
I don't want to get into a fight. Maybe they're right.
Frankly, I'd prefer not to fight as well. We sincerely apologize for getting in your way, your royal highnesses.
Highness disease.
Oh, wait!
Highness disease.
I actually have a friend who would downright love to get in a fight.
There's no need to bother him.
I would normally agree with you, but
But
these two good gentlemen seem to.
kings,
These two good kings seem to be begging for a fight.
he has a point.
He does.
Well then, we are all in agreement.
Hello, John! You'll be just a moment.
Perhaps we haven't.
There's no need to stand for him. He's not royalty.
As we are.
As we are.
That's a very interesting make of that blade you have there.
Oh, it's a family heirloom.
He's on his way.
That blade, along with many just like it, was due to be delivered to King Richard's army not long ago.
I have a large family.
Not to mention quite a bit of gold, clothing, and food.
He is my friend now. Goes by the name of John Little. Don't let his name fool you.
John Little meanders down the path to join them, a large and impressive man, carrying a large and impressive quarterstaff.
Now at least we know what they did with the food.
Hello, boys. What a beautiful morning, wouldn't you agree? Well, enough with the small talk. Why don't you hand over your belongings before I break open your skulls?
All right then.
Robin and William take off their packs and kneel down to open them up, stealing the chance to whisper briefly amongst themselves.
What do you think of our chances?
They're just trying to scare us. These are bandits, not murderers. But we can't lose the letters from the king.
I say we split up.
Agreed. You make a run for it with the letters, I'll distract them.
I'll stay. You run. My leg.
Right. I'll wait a bit for you in Clipston. Otherwise, I'll be back this way tomorrow.
Well, I'm bored.
John, tell us again what you were thinking of doing with their skulls.
All right, you two. Let's see what you have.
Go on. I'll be right behind you.
Here we are. Follow me.
William taunts Alan, who chases after him off stage. Little attacks Robin. Robin takes a few blows from Little and is too far from his sword, but finds a fallen limb of comparable size to Little's staff.
Oh, nice stick.
A stick?
They exchange a quick volley of attacks, both parrying the other in rapid succession.
It seems we've had the same teacher.
Oh, same teacher, you say? This is my game.
I think I've got a handle on you now.
Robin dives into another set of blows.
Didn't see that coming, did you?
Oh, that was fancy. How about this? Oh, you a court jester?
It took me 2 weeks to learn that.
Now that's funny.
What say you put an end to this?
Little raised his eyebrows and laughed, so Robin laughed, and then they both laughed harder, and when Little attacked, it was the same lunge he'd used before. Robin feigned hard away and slapped his branch up and quick onto John's knuckles, then fast around to bury the south end into his exposed armpit. As the massive quarterstaff fell to the water, Robin pushed the middle of his branch up fast and hard into Little's nose, which gave way, blood popping out each side. Little's lumbering weight toppled backwards into the river with a crack and a heavy splash. Robin was quick to follow. He raised his weapon, wanting to smash it down again, to give back some of what he'd taken. But Little's battered face was wrought with blood and defeat, his hands out in surrender. The water rushed over his shoulders and into his mouth. Robin's muscles tensed, but he blinked it away and let the branch dangle loosely from his hand. But even with water still clearing from his ears, he realized there was another noise in the melee. Sharp steel touched his back, just so, between the plates and the leather, just hard enough to keep him off balance.
Let's be perfectly clear on what's about to happen. I'm going to tell you to surrender. You're going to foolishly turn and attack me. I'm going to sink one knife through your ribs and another through your back. And in 1 hour, when I've washed your blood off my blades in the river, I will have a very nice lunch and forget about my morning entirely.
You're a cocky little thing.
I know when I'm right.
Will.
You do this a lot, I imagine. Not a bad living if you can keep it up.
Stalling to catch your breath.
Most people don't put up too much of a fight, aren't expecting it.
I'm hungry.
Unfortunately, I've actually traveled quite a distance just to find you. Didn't think you'd make it easier by coming out and greeting me.
What does the King's private guard want with me? Recruitment?
Oh, not just you. All of you. I presume there are more than 3 of you.
Now hold your say a moment. Seems we've had a bit of a misintroduction. Scarlet, stow your medal.
They're not satisfied yet.
Stow them. You know King Richard.
Well, I've been by his side for the better part of a year.
In battle?
More often than not.
You a knight?
No, I was an archer once, but...
You're a long way from the war.
He's a long way from the truth, I'd say. Here.
Scarlet draws an arrow from the quiver on the ground and hands it to Robin.
For your life, I'd bet you couldn't hit that tree down there.
As soon as it is in his hands, Robin snaps the arrow over his knee.
Hey!
I'm not here to fight.
I'll bet he's a deserter.
Get out with it.
I'm not a deserter, but there are plenty of men who are. The army's supplies are dwindling. Weapons, food, supplies that are supposed to be coming from home aren't making it to the men, specifically those coming from here through Nottinghamshire. We figured it might be the sheriff keeping it for himself.
Oh, it's definitely the sheriff.
Why don't we lean on each other? We'll let you about your way, and in return, you can kill the sheriff to your heart's content.
It's kind enough, accepting 3 things. First, I wouldn't be killing the sheriff. That's not really sane.
Pity.
Second, and more importantly, is that you're the one stealing supplies, not the sheriff.
A solid point.
And the third?
The third being, it wouldn't be you letting me go. It would be me letting you go.
Ho, ho, ho! We're your prisoners, then.
That's right.
Hey!
What's that?
Thought you should be introduced to the rest of your prisoners.
From down the road and out of the trees arrive the remainder of Little's companions.
Hoping you don't mind the imprisonment of women, children, and men of the cloth amongst.
My prisoners all.
Who'd you catch, darling? Someone important?
Apparently so.
All on your own?
Well, Alan ran off, and John spent some time sitting down, so yes, all on my own.
There was never a doubt.
Elena kisses Scarlet.
Oh, my apologies to all, but we are surrendered. Quiet now. This here's a friend of the sheriff, and he's asked for our captivation. So we've had a good time, but it seems this here's the end. Your prisoner, Little John.
A pleasure to meet you, John.
Will Scarlet, you've met. That one attached to his side is Elena. You'll need a double cell for the 2 of them. It's awfully hard to keep them separate.
Lady Gamwell will do fine.
Lady Gamwell.
A few more of your prisoners, Arthur Bland, David of Doncaster, and here's the miller's son, Much.
That's your name, Much.
It's more of a nickname.
Not a very good name, now is it?
It's better than what they called me before.
And what was that?
Not much.
Much steps forward and punches Robin in the arm with all his strength.
Ow!
That's for laughing.
Lastly amongst us that are here, the Curtal Friar Tuck.
A friend of the sheriff's.
A friend of the king's.
Funny, isn't it, how different those 2 answers are? And your name was?
Robin of Locksley. John, may I have a word with you?
Your servant.
What's going on here?
How long have you been gone?
Robbery's nothing new in Sherwood, but women and children. Are you living out here like this?
I do what I can to protect them. Yes, that includes banditry.
You lead these people.
Not quite, but they respect me.
Well, you've put them all in quite a bit of danger. If you feel obliged to help them, you cannot continue as you have.
Go on.
My friend that ran off, William de Wendenel, has orders from the sheriff, for the sheriff from the king, to do anything necessary to keep his supplies safe. He'll send men to hunt you out of the Sherwood. You'd be wise not to be present when he does.
Where would we be wise to be?
Wherever it is you called home before this.
Again, how long have you been gone?
2 springs ago.
Oh, you've missed a lot, Locksley. Nottinghamshire is not a place for those who can't afford to pay the sheriff's taxes. We're better off in the forest, trust me. Aside, my friend Alan is sure to outrun your friend William, so I won't bet our safety quite yet.
Are you familiar with Locksley Castle?
More than passing.
My father has long been a friend to those in need, usually to a fault, and your people can set up there something more comfortable, earn an honest living.
Your father is...
What?
What in the blazes is happening here?
We've been captured.
What?
You let him get away from you?
You let us get captured?
You are my prisoners all. I can offer you the finest cells in all of England. Lots of open air, no walls, that sort of thing. Listen, get your families out of the woods. You stop robbing the caravans to Richard's army. My father will help you out with the tax collectors, and I can get back to where I belong.
Lead the way.
Scene 2, Nottingham Castle, Sheriff's Office. The scene shifts to a darkish room in Nottingham Castle, the office of the Sheriff of Nottingham. A table with various maps and scrolls on it. A few chairs are about. Seated here is Baron Roger de Lacy, dressed well, but not pompously. There is a modest painting of himself on the wall. He is reading several papers, signs one and seals it with a wax seal. Eventually, through his door enters Guy of Gisborne, captain of the Sheriff's Guard, leading William de Wendenall.
Baron, pardon the urgency.
No need. What is it?
I bring word from King Richard.
He claims he's with Richard's private guard. He carries letters to that effect, but their seals were broken.
They were damaged.
Thank you, Lord Gisborne. Don't I recognize you?
William de Wendenall. We met once.
Yes, I thought so. Go on, Gisborne. I'm sure you have other people to harass.
I'll be close.
I'd like to say he means well, but I'm a poor liar.
Baron, I come with an urgent matter from King Richard himself.
How is your father?
Well, last I heard, which was some time ago.
Good. Sit. Drink some wine.
Thank you.
How long will you stay? Will you need lodgings?
I may. The length of my stay will depend on the successful termination.
I'll find something for you. So, you're here to talk about stolen supplies.
I am.
Talk then, at least. This way you can tell Richard himself that you tried your best before being sent away.
King Richard doubts either your loyalty or your abilities as sheriff.
Both are beyond reprisal, but, of course, I can't prove that. Let him then appoint someone else as sheriff. I never wanted it. You can have it if you'd like, but in 6 months' time he'll send a replacement for you as well, because it's not my intelligence which starves his army.
I'm not here to replace you.
The people are hurting. We raise the taxes, you know, to send support to Richard's crusade, and the people get angry, and some don't pay at all. So we don't actually increase our coffers because it all balances out. To which Richard brilliantly replies, well, raise the taxes again.
Baron, I don't know if you are aware of this, but there is a gang of outlaws in the Sherwood operating with apparently wanton freedom.
Have you looked at my face, William?
What am I looking for?
Do you see all the scars, all the broken chunks of wood embedded into my flesh?
No.
Do you know why my face remains unscarred and unembedded with broken chunks of wood?
No.
It is because I do not regularly make a habit of ramming my own face into this table here, even when it otherwise sounds like an excellent idea. Do you know why I do not regularly ram my face into this table?
Do tell.
Because I am not an idiot. I am well aware of the brigands in the Sherwood, and I know precisely what they have taken from the king, and I know that I have a foot at the end of each of my legs. I hope you didn't travel this far to tell me things of which I already have intimate knowledge.
I have not. I have come because I have friends in the war who don't have a sword to fight with. And as I traveled home to fix this problem, the man who stole these very swords assaulted me in the forest. You'll forgive me if I find the solution to this problem glaringly obvious.
Gisborne.
I apologize.
Guy of Gisborne re-enters the room. Outside the door, we can see his squire of sort, William de Ferrers, to whom he was presumably speaking.
Baron.
Come inside, both of you.
Ferrers.
Lord William de Wendenall, this is Lord Guy of Gisborne, Captain of the Guard.
We met.
Gisborne, William and I were discussing options for the outlaws in the Sherwood. The other day you had a solution of your own.
I said we should put their heads on pikes, all of them.
Would this appease the king, William?
If it were to keep his army fed.
Yes, it isn't my duty to feed the army. It is my duty to enforce justice. Would this be justice, to kill the outlaws?
They've made their choice. Let them hang by it.
Do you consider an eye for an eye to be a fair enough principle?
In many circumstances.
Then by what right would we take their lives? They haven't killed anyone, and I have no intention of making them feel they should. By justice, what we should do is take back that which they've stolen, but by any rational means, we stole it from them first with these ridiculous taxes. I'd say we're lucky they haven't started killing anyone. They would certainly be in their right mind to do so.
And what of the king's army? Without supplies, our soldiers desert or die. Richard's army is dwindling, the war failing.
I will not aggravate them. Leave these outlaws to their own, and they'll soon realize there's no great opposition. They're poorly organized. They won't last long, so the last thing I want is to rally them by fueling their need for an enemy. If a few shipments get lost traveling through the Sherwood, so be it. The rest can go east to the shore. Besides, the King's has supplies coming from plenty of other places.
Perhaps my men and I should join the rebels. Pretty soon they'll be paid better than we are.
I was traveling with a friend, another member of the Royal Guard. We were separated, and he may be held captive by these outlaws.
I doubt they'll hurt him. They'll take his things and let him loose. I can send scouts to find him for you. What's his name?
Robin of Locksley.
Robin of Locksley?
Do you know him?
No, but I've had dealings with his father. When we first raised taxes, Sir Walter of Locksley was one of the first to come bearing complaint. What followed was less than desirable.
I'd like to accompany your scouts.
Take Gisborne and a few men. Locksley.
Ferrers, ready the horses.
Aye.
Have you eaten?
Not much.
Gisborne, send in a girl. The weapons that are missing.
What of them?
All right. Those need to get to King Richard. Find an opportunity to parley with the rebels and reclaim the weapons. Will that help you out at all, William?
I believe it would. Do you think they'll agree?
Ask for a man named John Little. He should be reasonable.
Thank you.
Are you sure you're not here to replace me?
Those were not my orders.
But if they were, would you do it?
What do you mean?
Think about it. Roger de Lacy. Do you like that name?
It's a fine name.
De Lacy exits, and William is left alone in the office.
All right.
Shortly, Gisborne returns, followed by Arable de Burrell, a servant to the sheriff.
Perhaps you could bring me a chicken leg while you're at it. Actually, I'd like 2 legs.
I'll bring them to the stables, Lord Gisborne. William!
Terrible.
Be quick about it. I've got to go rescue this fellow's friend from a bunch of spoiled children. Don't worry, I won't be in much danger.
Did I look worried?
Hurry up with that food.
William, it's so good to see you. We feared the worst.
The worst? Nothing to fear. I'm alive and well.
Yes, but nobody has heard from you in so long. Have you seen your father?
Not yet. I don't know I'll get a chance to.
Oh, you have to. Wait, you're not staying.
I can't. How are you?
It has been a while, hasn't it? A lot has changed, as you can see.
What are you doing like this?
What's this about your friend?
I'm on an errand for King Richard. Once it's settled, I'll have to be off again.
Oh, nothing dangerous.
No.
William, there's a shortage of good men here in Nottingham.
I can't stay.
Baron de Lacy could use someone like you, someone trustworthy.
Why do you say that?
He talks to me when I'm in the room. He doesn't have much support here, and Worries about Gisborne.
Gisborne?
That lecherous, bloodthirsty. I'm afraid of him.
Has he threatened you?
There was another girl. He had his eyes on her for a while, and she refused him. One night he had drunk quite a bit, and he cut her face up.
What? Why hasn't the sheriff done anything about it?
It doesn't matter.
I think de Lacy was asking if I might take his place.
Are you serious?
I couldn't tell. Or he may have been asking if I was going to kill him.
What?
I'm not sure. I'll have a word with Gisborne. See to it that he behaves himself around you.
Please, don't mention anything.
Don't worry. I'll be discreet. I promise you, you won't have to worry about him anymore.
You shouldn't make me promises, William. The last promise you made was that you'd come back.
I did. I'm here.
Yes. Well,
I have to go. I am sorry.
you won't eat.
I'll see you again.
Don't say that.
I promise it. I can't believe you're here.
Scene 3, Locksley Castle. Robin walks alone, aghast at the destruction around him. We see ruined castle walls and debris about, the remains of Locksley Castle. Little Scarlet, Elena, and Tuck enter as well, kicking about things on the floor, but not foreign to the devastation.
Not quite home sweet home.
Locksley Castle, thank you so much for the fine accommodations.
What happened here?
Something that shouldn't have.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Thought this would be better seen.
There's so little left.
Any number of travelers had their pick of the place, even the rocks.
Banged it myself once or twice. No offense. Found an apron.
It's a nice apron.
You're telling me the sheriff did this?
His men.
Can you imagine the sheriff himself out here? The only brains that Pissmire has is to keep himself hidden at Castle Rock.
Where's my father?
They burned him.
Will!
That's not how it happened.
You were here.
I was. Robin, your father was one of the finest men I've known. Foolish to be so fine in such a world as ours.
What happened?
The sheriff's guard came to evict him.
And he fought back?
For whatever reason, he ended up in the stables. Had nowhere else to retreat. A guard went in to grab him and came out a moment later, blood pouring down his nose.
Your father had an arm for horseshoes.
Well, nobody wanted to step foot into the stables after that, until someone had the good idea to smoke your father out.
Oh, no.
Once the fire caught, there was nothing anyone could do. It was a terrible accident, but no matter how it happened, word traveled quickly that the sheriff was burning down houses, even the noblemen like your father, who didn't pay their taxes.
Ho!
That's Alan. Ho!
Alan enters, guiding Lady Marian with him. She is clearly only interested in finding and talking to Robin.
Does anybody need a pretty lady? I found one just wandering around.
How pretty.
How pretty.
Of all things, Robin!
Lady Marian?
I didn't believe when I heard it. Now here you are, as if the years were a heartbeat.
Not for this place.
I'm so sorry, Robin. My family did everything we could.
What are you doing here?
Well, it's nice to see you, too.
That's not what I meant.
What are you doing here? I didn't know the war was over.
He's our prisoner.
I thought it was the other way around.
Are you serious?
That's what you told me.
There's 5 of us, and we have the weapons.
No, I know. You're actually not his prisoners, but...
Boys!
There's a cave up in the rocks up there. It doesn't look like much, but it opens up. We used to store rations there. I promised you all whatever help I could offer, and that may be it.
I'll give it a look. But let's go, pretty lady.
There's not going to be anything left.
It's hard to find. The food may be spoiled, but the wine should be good.
Wine, you say?
Not aiming to run off, are you?
Would you care?
Sorry about all this.
It's good to see you alive.
I had no idea things had grown so bad.
You know, your father was something of a hero.
A hero?
He housed a lot of people here, paid their taxes for them.
Why did they evict him if he was paying his taxes?
Oh, he didn't pay his own, just theirs. He thought he could prove a point. He thought he was too prominent to be evicted.
It sounds as if my father only made things worse.
No, he was trying to help the people.
Well, the people he was helping have been routed out of their villages and chased into a forest. Are they better off now stealing what they can to survive than they were paying higher taxes?
There's no way he knew where this would lead.
He died hiding in a stable, throwing horseshoes at tax collectors. This is a great hero. What was he fighting for?
It's easy to fight for something you believe in. Your father chose to fight for something that others believed in, simply because they couldn't fight for themselves. That's a hero.
He should have known better. He had plenty of money to pay.
Why don't you come to my estate?
That's very good of you. There's nothing for me here.
Nothing?
I should report back to King Richard.
You could stay. People would listen to you. You could help things.
The way my father helped things. By escalation. This sort of escalation that will slowly... this sort of situation that will slowly go away. If there are any more conflicts, the two sides will push themselves even further away from each other. But if they just move back to their villages and stop stealing from the sheriff, then he won't persecute them and everything will be fine. The only solution is to do nothing. I'm good at fighting. I'm not very good at doing nothing. I'll be of no help here.
Fine. You're right. There's nothing worth fighting for here.
Marion, you know that...
Look alive, we've company.
Enter William, making his way through the rubble.
Now here is a hero.
Thank God.
Hello again.
Now, why did I bother chasing after you if you're just gonna walk back into my arms?
Put your weapons down.
Excuse me?
How'd you find me?
This wasn't the first place I looked. These are your friends now?
We've come to an understanding.
I'm not sure I'm understanding this understanding.
I'm looking for a man named John Little.
He's here. He'll be back shortly.
You'll be keeping your mouth shut.
I mean to negotiate a peace between your men and the sheriff. A peace?
It smells of a trap to me.
You may want to listen to the offer.
As captain to the guard to the sheriff of Nottingham, I give you one chance to lay down your arms.
I've got a hold of this, thank you.
Is your friend amongst these men?
That's him.
Well then, I've accompanied you on your search and your task is complete. Happily, your search has led me to the very heart of the woodland rebels, a matter in which I guarantee you, I hold authority.
Roger asked me...
The sheriff has been in search of these criminals for some time, and if they will not go peacefully, I will arrest those still capable of walking when I am through with them.
How are your legs, Alan?
I think I'll be walking fine. Yours?
Let's dance.
There will be no blood spilled here today. This is my father's land passed on to me, and if you need to arrest someone on my land, you will kindly bring the matter to me.
Robin Foxley. Your father failed to pay his taxes, and his land was reclaimed in the name of the king. I will take who I please.
You will take no one. Lord Gisborne, the sheriff himself told me these men were not to be harmed or arrested.
What?
I have come with an offer of peace, and that peace will be respected.
Let us hear it then.
John Little.
Aye.
I am Lord William de Wendenau. I speak for the sheriff.
Go on then.
He does not wish to aggravate you, only to find some common ground.
The spirits in these rooms may disagree.
An unfortunate coincidence. Perhaps we can give them some peace.
What does he propose?
You will not be persecuted for your crimes of thievery against the king, provided that you can return what you can of the weapons belonging to the king's armies, and will refrain from interfering with future shipments. All else is forgiven.
All is forgiven?
All we have to do is hand over our weapons.
What the hell do you forgive us for?
Will!
Maybe instead we get out those very weapons you're asking for and watch you run for the hills again.
Stay.
There's a slight problem with your plan, Wendenall. Most of those weapons have long been sold off. Some we have, the rest sold for soup or bread. So then what are we to eat?
Forget the weapons. Return to your homes. Return to your lives. Let this pass.
John, think of these people. Think of the women and children. You can get them to a better life.
If there's no deal, I'll take these men into custody.
I think I might take something of my own.
Elena deftly walks out of the shadows and brings a knife against Gisborne's throat.
No!
Elena!
We come in peace.
Back down, girl.
Put your weapons down or I'll slice them open right now.
Do you see, William, what we've been up against? These men only know violence.
Be careful who you call a man.
That is quite enough from everyone.
My apologies, lady, but I'm not sure I know you.
My name is Lady Marian, and I am kin to King Richard the Lionheart. You will hear me out.
You stand with these outlaws.
I stand for what I believe to be right, as do you.
What have you in mind?
I will accompany you to the sheriff along with John Little, whom you will promise safe passage. The four of us will come to an agreement. Until then, both sides will remain at bay.
Little, do you agree to this?
Don't do it, John.
All they need is an excuse to put you away.
I won't allow that.
Aye, lady. I agree.
First, call off your men.
Elena, come on, girl. Let him be.
Elena slowly removes her knife from Gisborne's throat, puts it away, and begins to retreat.
Bitch!
The tiniest moment of weightlessness passed before it all fell. Elena was on the captain within 2 steps, too quick for either to draw a weapon, and barreled into Gisborne with both fists wailing. The guard closest to Elena caught a fistful of her hair and yanked her back hard, wrenching her off Gisborne and thankfully into submission. But Will Scarlet cleared half the room in a heartbeat to help her, leaping over rubble. There was no chance to explain it. The riot of the room overwhelmed thought. 2 guards converged and tackled Scarlet to the ground, then buried a fist into his stomach, then again, a third, then his face. The rest of John Little's crew was surging forward, with Robin and William the only thing between them and the rest of the guardsmen. Steel drew across steel, the sharp pang of weapons finally drawn and colliding. Alan barely dodged a thrust that would have skewered him, then tried to defend himself from another slash, but the impact jostled him off balance, sending him to the ground. Robin took the opportunity to grab Alan by the damn scruff of his neck and hoist him to safety. A sharp cry of pain rested their attention to Captain Gisborne. Elena was biting into his hand, which he'd clearly been using to quiet her. He released her and smashed the back of his other hand across her face. She went tumbling, stumbling back, where she engaged several guardsmen, her face lit up with excitement. She was the joyous heart of a whirlwind. She slashed low, caught one guard's sword, and used it to capture a second. A hairy guard came down high onto her, but she slipped underneath him, grabbed his beard, and yanked his face down as she smashed her knee into his face. She screamed as loud as he did, hers a shrill war cry, and his in toothless, bloody horror. She enjoyed her victory for only a split second, as William wrapped his arm around her waist from behind and picked her up like a doll. She squirmed and wiggled, but he threw her away from the melee as if she were nothing. But Robin and William had kept their blades sheathed until now, but in a single graceful move, he and William rolled around each other, each blade kissing out. Robin disarmed Elena with a well-practiced flick, and William but twisted his blade into the head of a guardsman's halberd, and it leapt from its owner's hands. The captain and his guards regrouped on one side of the room, while the outlaws retreated to fire.
This isn't over.
Get your men out of here!
I'll see each and every one of you in prison, and my face will be the last thing you see.
Gisborne, Ferrers, and the guards begin to exit. William lingers to speak with Robin.
This is out of control.
This is not our problem. We've done what we came here for.
So we just leave?
The supplies are gone. What else do we do?
What about these people?
What about them?
Nottingham is to rip itself to shreds.
All the more reason for us not to be here.
What's the point, Robin? What's the point of going back to a war if we can't keep peace here in our own land? What are we even fighting for? What are we trying to protect?
You're right, but this isn't our fight.
Oh, please. Is Richard's war our fight?
We have a responsibility to fight for England.
Then let's fight for her people, so they're not subjected to what we see in the war. There can be a peace here in Nottinghamshire. They simply need someone to show them how.
All right. All right. Shall we split up again?
I think I can make some headway with the sheriff. What about you?
I'll do what I can. I can't promise they'll listen.
Keep them out of trouble, and I'll keep the sheriff off their backs.
We can't get too entangled here.
1 week. Peace or no peace, we meet here at sundown in 1 week.
1 week, then we'll go home.
Good luck, Robin.
I hope you know what you're doing.
William departs. The men assemble about the ruins.
Home?
Not this place.
We better prepare for the return.
You idiots! You've brought this on yourself, all of it!
What would you have us do?
Do you honestly think you can take on the Royal Sheriff's Guard? A dozen of you? You'll be decimated!
We're 100 strong and growing.
Women and children and untrained fighters. You can brawl in a little skirmish like this, but they'll be organized when they return, and you will not stand a chance.
So teach us. You're something special with the king's army, so teach us how they fight.
You shouldn't be fighting at all.
You're not listening, Robin. We don't have homes to go back to. We have families to feed.
Robin's right. You're bringing too much attention to yourselves. When you steal from the army, the sheriff has to respond.
So don't steal from the army. Only take from those who can afford to lose it, and don't take more than they're able to do without. And keep the violence to absolute minimum.
Feed yourselves, but don't forget there are other people out there who need help.
You keep a low presence and endear yourself to the people.
We're still putting ourselves at risk. Alan's right. I'd like to know a little more of what you know.
Violence is not the answer.
I know, but when it is the answer, we want to have the right answer, don't we?
What else are you going to do for the next week?
They could use you. Stay.
On one condition.
Yes?
You stay too.
Robin.
I mean it. That captain knows who you are, and I can't protect you if I'm in the woods. Stay with me. Help me teach these people.
Well, if you insist. Well, come along, everyone. Why don't you show me to my room?
Hello, love. My name is John Little.
Lady Marian, so pleased to meet you.
As the men depart, he stays for a bit, looking around at the castle one more time. Eventually, he chases after. Scene 4, Sherwood Forest, a road. A road in Sherwood Forest, and in the middle of the path is a log or a few rocks that likely don't belong there. On it sits Elena, and as far in front of her as possible is Scarlet. They are pretending to be within a moving carriage. Behind the carriage, Alan sneaks up on the right side, low and stealthy, and hides next to Elena, who is clearly not happy about pretending she can't see him. From in front of the carriage, Tuck walks down the path and holds his hands out to Scarlet.
Halt! Halt, please! Oh, thank you for stopping, kind sirs. The Lord has sent you to me, and for this I am thankful.
She's so stupid.
Ah, don't be hasty in passing judgment, my obviously wealthy friend who has no military affiliation.
You've got to be kidding me.
Alan, I can clearly see you.
For you say that this is stupid, but I say that wisdom comes from both within, from above, and from my friend over there to your left.
A pleasure to meet you, sir.
I'm sure you won't mind sharing a seat, would you?
Hold there. Don't get too close, Alan.
Why not?
Remember when you two came after me? You were close enough that I was easily able to disarm Will.
I do remember that.
Shut it.
You didn't tell me that part.
But you've got a bow on him. He's not going to make a move.
Here, let me.
Robin moves next to Scarlet, moves one hand in distraction, and suddenly makes a quick move with the other against Alan, disarms him, and then turns the sword around so the point is against Alan's throat.
Dead, you see?
Yes, but you know what sort of men drive carriages for the wealthy? The kind that don't move like lightning.
You already snuck up on him. That's proven to him that we have the upper hand. Now, Will, try to disarm him.
It's Tuck's turn.
Tuck doesn't get a turn. Go on, Will.
Scarlet stares at Robin for a bit, intent on not making a move, makes a slow, obvious move that mocks Robin's, then suddenly turns and lunges at Alan, assuming he'll be successful. Alan is able to get away in time while Robin moves in.
Son of a...
Sorry my friend snuck up on you there. He didn't realize how twitchy you were. I'm the same way, so I'd prefer that you have no more sudden movements unless I accidentally kill you. Appreciate it.
If I kill you, it won't be accidental.
And keep it friendly. Remember, we're gentlemen. Good evening, ladies.
Stab, stab, stab. Dead.
And risk getting blood all over your lovely dress? I think not.
She can kill you if she wants to.
You can't see any of this. You're outside the carriage.
Elena, my darling, you are the prettiest girl in England, but I promise you that we would never find the likes of you escorted in a carriage.
I could be a lady.
Now this I've got to say.
Hey.
She can't do that. I'm outside the carriage. Those are the rules.
Good evening, Lady Gamwell.
Oh, a ruffian. Whatever shall I do?
It pains me to frighten you so. Lips such as yours should not be made to tremble. Please accept my apology.
Oh, if only I was stronger and braver. But as it is, I am helpless.
Are those diamonds? I hardly noticed compared to your beautiful face. Does it really need such jewelry to compete with? I think not.
You think I'm beautiful? Well, I don't mind being robbed at all now. Take it all. Take me too.
Perhaps another time. On your way, and remember, this is our secret.
Thank you, sir. Make haste now. There are dangerous folk out there.
Clearly.
Here's something for your troubles. Feel free to catch the invisible coin, Will.
What's this?
Always give a little something to the carriage driver.
We give it right back.
The driver is not rich.
But he's certainly not poor.
We want to keep him coming through the forest. His passengers won't know.
What if there are more men? Or if they fight back?
Stay out of range, so they can't start a fight. And only steal from the rich. If they're not who we thought they were, apologize and let them go. You need the people on your side. Always leave behind the carriage, so they think moving forward will keep them safe.
They exit, leaving Elena and Scarlet alone.
You let those thieves ravage me.
You seem to enjoy it.
Come on, Will. Where's your sense of humor?
What are we doing, Lena?
I know.
Stealing from rich old ladies and politicians? Only taking enough that the sheriff doesn't fight back? What's the point of all this?
I know.
I want the sheriff to know about us. I want him to fear us. We've been driven off of our own lands for no reason, and we're supposed to go out of our way not to make him angry now?
You're right. I know you're right. And the others know you're right too. But just wait a little bit longer. Let them play Robin's game for a while. The sheriff will put his guard down. That's when you'll be the one leading us to victory.
I don't see what everybody likes about him.
Next week, he'll be gone and forgotten. But who's been fighting from the beginning? And who's the best fighter of all of them?
In a clean fight, Robin wouldn't stand a chance.
And that's what men respect. Strength. Not some rich man's kid playing hero. Let's go.
Scene 5. Nottingham Castle, Sheriff's Office. Arable and William enter. Arable sets up a few drinks and pours them. They are in mid-conversation.
Only for a few more days.
Unfortunately so. Once this matter is settled, I need to report back to King Richard.
What if it takes longer than that?
And there's probably not much else I could do about it. The last few days have been quiet, which has given me plenty of free time that I'm sure you're not complaining about.
No, I didn't say that.
She curls up to him and kisses his neck.
But what if you're killed in the war? You have no brothers, William. Who will carry on your family name?
Then I won't die.
You're invincible.
The door opens and Ferrers enters.
Lord Windenall,
Lord Ferrers,
Baron de Lacy and Lord Gisborne will be here momentarily.
All right.
I should bring more glasses.
May I ask, how long have you served under Lord Gisborne?
Lord Gisborne is not my master. I joined the guard earlier this year for my own purposes.
Gisborne is captain of the guard, though. Do you not take orders from him?
My father is the Earl of Derby, as I will be someday, as well as a sheriff of Derbyshire. I'm not in Nottingham as an exercise in education.
Then you understand discretion.
Your affairs are your own.
Windenall, thank you for coming.
Of course, Baron.
How quickly can you... do you need anything? Hungry?
Nothing, thank you.
Troubling news from York.
York?
John Marshall, the High Sheriff of Yorkshire, has just been deposed. Care to ask why?
Why?
for lack of revenue sent to King Richard.
Huh. Who is his successor?
Osbert de Longchamp.
Brother to the Chancellor, unquestionable loyalty, no political experience, and a complete madman.
You think you're next?
Wouldn't you? The people who support me will quickly hear about what's happening in Yorkshire. If they think I am to be replaced, they'll distance themselves from me, especially if the new sheriff is someone as insane as Longchamp. No one with any power will want any political ties to Roger de Lacy when that happens.
This all goes back to the outlaws in Sherwood, who, if you had allowed it, would be in prison at this moment.
What do you mean if I had allowed it?
Your order for them not to be touched.
I gave no order.
My apologies. There was a possibility of peace talks. I thought it would be wise to assure them they would not be arrested.
They're criminals. What in the hell is stopping us?
Thank you for bringing this to my attention, Gisborne. You are dismissed. You spoke for me.
With respect, Lord Gisborne would have slain them all had I not.
What is your charge here?
I came to ensure the safe delivery of supplies from Nottingham.
Which you have done.
Which includes securing the peace of Nottinghamshire for future deliveries.
Which you feel I cannot do.
Which I feel you have not done. Until now, your orders have ranged from doing nothing to doing nothing.
Provoking these rebels only makes them stronger.
Provocation is not your only option. I nearly had their leaders agree to come speak with you to a truce. Something that both sides want, but you have not extended your hand.
Any truce would involve some punishment on their end.
They are children acting out. They act out because they want for discipline.
De Lacy has found himself staring at his own portrait, which is hanging on the wall. He laughs in disgust.
Very good, Wendenall. You have a keen eye and a strong grip, but this sheriff's seat has a way of tying one's hands with political chest thumping. The next man to sit here will have an easier time of it, and he will be a man of action, where I was not.
The next man?
Lord Gisborne, of course.
You know this for certain?
I have no doubt. Unquestionable loyalty, no political experience. Good day, William.
Give to those most in need, but be quick about it. We shouldn't linger.
I don't believe it.
I told you it was true. Good afternoon, friends. These are trying times, are they not?
Trying?
Oh, they are. They are. The Lord helps those who help themselves. So help yourselves.
Tuck opens his hands to a pile of gold coins, which Monday and Stutley cautiously but hungrily pick from.
Go on, Much. See who else you can find.
Robin passes Much a bag of coins, which he happily runs off with, calling out for people.
Are you the one? I the one?
Oh, he means Robin Hood.
Excuse me?
Robin Hood? I suppose you're talking about this gentleman right here.
Why, yes, that's me. Where'd I get that name from?
No idea. Wear a hood.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever... Yes, that's me.
What they say about you. Isn't it? It's true, isn't it?
Of course it is. Don't be rude.
What do they say?
Monday says that you snuck right into the castle and stole it all out of the sheriff's pockets itself.
Oh, and the sheriff's personal money. I got it!
Where did you hear that?
Over in Birdsdale. They say Robin Hood and his men are given back to the people.
And his men?
And his men.
In their right mind would just throw away coin. Is this a trick?
This is the only name you've heard of?
No, there are stories about his men too.
Oh, good. Have you heard of Will Scarlet?
Oh, yes. Yeah, they say he's challenged Robin Hood to an archery contest, and Robin split his arrow in half, right down the middle.
What?
Yeah, they say he's the best archer in the land.
That's not what
That's exactly what happened, my friends. Will Scarlet shot an arrow into a tree, and Robin Hood, without even looking, shot another one and split it in twain.
Wow!
You know his story, don't you?
No.
He's the son of a wealthy landowner, you see, who refused to pay his taxes. Well, Robin Hood was fighting with King Richard, but he knew his friends and family needed him even more than the king himself.
Robin Hood? Who are you, Tuck Bald?
Let them tell stories. Stories are good for hope.
Even if they're false?
Especially when they're false. I know that better than most people.
Ah, and what exactly does the church think of what you're doing here?
The church or the Lord? The church would have us stay true to the laws of the land, but the Lord would have us stay true to our hearts. Our job is simply to do our best to keep those two in harmony. And as every choir boy knows, if you cannot harmonize, then just hope nobody hears you singing.
I was never a choir boy.
Nor I.
Well, I'm glad you stayed.
I may no longer have a choice. I'm Robin Hood.
I like this Robin Hood character. Friend of the people.
And an enemy of the law.
Are you worried at all about that?
William would vouch for me if it comes down to it. It's certainly not the first time I've pretended to be something I wasn't.
That's true for everyone, I imagine.
Are you familiar with the private guard?
You're the king's bodyguards, I assumed.
For the most part, yes, but when we're on the battlefield, we actually take turns dressing in King Richard's armor. He never even touches his own crown. If he needs to give an order, he tells us, and we'll give the command.
For what purpose?
So that if an enemy were to get close, he would attack the wrong person.
You're worried you have a target on your back now.
You know what I find interesting about that? It's a clever ruse designed to trick your enemy, but I'm willing to bet it works on your friends as well.
It did. In the armor, there's no way to tell.
So although you may have only been dressed as the king, for all intents and purposes, you were the king? People don't know the man. They know who the man represents. You tell someone, look there, you see the crown? That's the king, and they believe you. That person becomes the king. He's not the man who's important. It's the story of the man.
King Robin.
Robin Hood.
Stop and listen, gentlemen, that be of free-born blood, and I shall tell a goodly man of his name was Robin Hood.
You really weren't a choir boy, were you?
Robin was a prude outlaw, and against the law he fought. So courteous a leader as he was one, whether he wants to be or not. Robin Hood.
Nobody sings songs about me.
They will, darling. You're 1,000 Robin Hoods. Did he really split your arrow in half?
He broke it over his knee.
I was just asking.
Scene 7, Nottingham, Sheriff's Office. Roger de Lacy is sitting at his table writing, clearly agitated. Arable enters the room with a tray of drinks for him.
Insufferable pissants! Sorry, not you, these godforsaken, ungrateful traitors.
Do you need anything else?
What I need is for every one of these short-sighted bastards to fall over dead. Can you do that for me? Can you just kill them all?
I'm certain I could not.
They're completely ignorant to what they're doing. I'd love to sit one down and explain it to him, and watch his brain melt out of his ears so I could shove it down his arrogant little throat. Where's Wendenall?
Waiting outside, Baron.
Well, get him in here. Gisborne too.
Right away.
She opens the door and ushers in William, Gisborne, and Ferrers.
Your boys in the woods have really outdone themselves this time.
What's happened?
Have they killed someone?
What? No. Well, maybe. But no, that's not the problem.
Quiet, Ferrers.
I've heard it too. The people are singing songs about Robin.
What? Do you think I care about who they sing songs about?
Why don't you just tell us then?
Ferrers!
No, it's fine. Here's your first lesson in real politics, boy. You've got a duke and a farmer. Now, the farmer sells vegetables. The duke, he has money because he has money. Both pay taxes. Well, the taxes go up, and the farmer stops paying them, which isn't the end of the world to me because he's not paying much anyways. But then a band of supposed heroes comes by, steals the Duke's jewelry, and just gives that money to the farmer. Now, the farmer has money and vegetables and realizes he'd rather eat his vegetables than sell them at all. So the Duke has neither money nor vegetables, so he stops paying his taxes as well. It doesn't matter who the sheriff is, Nottingham is crumbling. Robin of Locksley doesn't know the damage he's doing. There's nothing more dangerous than a man who doesn't know his own cause.
So let us resolve the situation. Eliminate the outlaws.
How, Gisborne? You and 30 men go marching randomly into the Sherwood, hoping to get lucky? The forest is huge. We have no idea where they are, but they'll know where we are, and they'll know we're coming.
We can handle them in a fight.
They won't fight. They'll hide. You'll accomplish nothing. Besides, there are over 100 of them, women and children mostly. Would we imprison them all? We would have to feed them. It would take more money to organize an effort to search them out than it would to let them take our money. I should give them bloody subsidies.
Couldn't you put your men on escort duty? Provide accompaniment to anyone traveling through the Sherwood. You could protect their jewelry as well as get a more specific idea on where the outlaws may be camping.
That's not bad, but it gives the outlaws legitimacy. We're practically telling everyone else that we know they're in there and we can't stop them.
But we do know they're in there and we can't stop them.
If we can't find them, then why not draw them out?
Ferrers!
Go on.
The stories they tell about this Robin Hood, they call him an expert bowman. What if we held a public archery contest with a great prize? His pride alone would draw him out of the trees to compete. Then we capture him.
Each occupant of the room, perhaps even the room itself, let the idea sink in. As each did, they locked eyes on Roger de Lacy to gauge his reaction, letting him respond first. He drew a long, steady breath in through his nose and smiled, clasping his hands. Then he leaned back to Ferrers.
The adults are speaking. Surely you're missed at your mother's teat.
While the doorway was only 10 paces away, it was the longest and slowest walk that William had ever witnessed.
You're an embarrassment, Ferrers. Wait outside.
What an ingenious plan. An archery contest.
He's an idiot.
Do you have any way of getting in touch with Robin?
No.
No plans to meet him?
No, sorry.
Robin's not the only person who might know where the outlaws camp.
I will not entertain that idea.
She gives them support, and you know it.
I trust I don't have to remind you who her family is.
Her family.
It's not an option. Well, let's be pragmatic then. Lord Gisborne, I want you to put together your men, all of them, and take the tax collectors. Go everywhere the tax is owed, and make them pay in supplies, foodstuffs, anything. But no one is to be harmed.
You want us to take supplies directly from the people?
They've already been paid for their wares. Your boy Robin Hood gives them money.
We'll need a place to store it all.
Set up in a village. Somewhere friendly, somewhere a bit outside the Sherwood. Gather it there. We'll transport it here once you're done.
I'll need a lot of men.
Take them all.
I'll help.
No bother waiting then.
Excuse me, my lord.
What is it, child?
May I ask, why don't you let Lord Gisborne search for them? You said you wanted them all dead.
I do wish them dead. I have no love for any of those cretins. But would that make me a good leader, do you suppose, to only act on my own personal desires?
You called them traitors, and they're breaking the law.
I wonder if they consider themselves traitors. My duty as Baron, and perhaps as Sheriff, is to do what is right by as many people as I can. Who am I to say that what I want is more important than what they want? Besides, I won't be here for long anyways.
May I ask why?
Roger de Lacy. Do you like that name?
I do, actually.
I don't. I'd prefer Roger de Lizors. I stand to inherit my grandmother's lands, Albreda de Lizors. Something tells me I miss Nottingham one bit. Especially that.
Again,
good
his
man, Baron.
eyes land on his own portrait.
You're a good man, Baron.
Unfortunately, you may be right. What a shame that doesn't mean anything.
Scene 8, Nottingham, Robin's camp. Robin is giving some fighting lessons to Much, his little Scarlet Elena, and others sitting nearby. They are loud and boisterous and cheering for Much.
Now, watch your stance, and remember to keep your foot back.
I've been in a fight before.
And I'm sure you were ferocious. How did I kill you?
You're bigger than me.
It doesn't matter who's bigger. Will Scarlet isn't very big.
What?
Nothing.
You gave up your advantage. Wait for them to attack you.
That's boring.
Staying alive isn't boring. I'm only teaching this to you so you can defend yourself and then run away as fast as you can. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Now, deflect as I come in. That's better!
You don't run away from fights.
Yes, but I'm much bigger than you.
Don't worry much. You'll be bigger than John Little someday. And you'll be the most feared fighter in all of Europe. And remember, defending yourself is good. But don't forget about the element of surprise.
Death to the sheriff!
He runs and attacks Robin, who lets him jump on his back and spins him around a bit, then sets him down as he runs off.
Death to the sheriff?
I don't know where he got that.
Robin!
Robin Hood! Oh, thank you.
We found him wandering through the forest, calling your name.
He insisted on talking to you.
And you brought him here?
We shouldn't let anyone know where our camp is.
Just listen to him, Robin.
Do you remember me? Suddenly, we met before.
You said you had urgent news?
It's the sheriff. He's making raids. He's stealing right out of our homes.
What?
He wouldn't.
They kicked down my door and started taking everything.
Yes, no right.
Do you see what's going on? We lay low and stay out of the sheriff's way, and now he thinks he can do whatever he wants.
And it's not just my village. It's happening everywhere. I've heard that they kicked out people out of their homes in Burnsdale to make room for the stockpiling.
We've got to do something about this.
This may be beyond our help.
Beyond your help? You're going to fight for us, aren't you?
Fight? For you? Has there been fighting?
I don't think so. We thought that you would do that.
So you just abandoned your homes and are expecting me to come rescue you?
I knew you were full of it. Fine, I'll take my money and go then.
Excuse me?
Money. I need some more of it. When you came through a few days ago, my friend Monday got 2 or 3 times as much money as I did. He doesn't even need it. He's doing fine. And so I didn't think that it was fair at all.
Get out!
What?
Get the hell out of here right now before I throw you out!
Robin.
Didn't think that was very fair at all?
Come along. Now's not a very good time.
What about letting me stay? I'm a criminal too, you know. I got caught poaching. Hey, I'm a
We're
poacher.
supposed to be helping these people, not putting their pants on for them.
Settle down, Robin.
I should have let you all be arrested.
You think this is our fault? Well, we were doing perfectly fine before you came along.
Perfectly well, living in the woods and stealing from the king.
Oh, the king, the king. We're not all best friends with the king, you know. That way, we're Robin. He hasn't exactly done very much for us.
Stop it, you two. Forget about that man.
What are we going to do about these raids?
We can't do anything about the raids. You can't start a war.
Here's your great plan again. Sit back and do nothing. The sheriff didn't just take our money and our homes. He took our way of life, our dignity. It's easy for you to tell us to wait for things to get better because you're leaving anyways. It's not going to get better unless we make it better.
Robin, you've had the best intentions, but Will's right. This isn't your fight. Your heart isn't in it like ours are.
John, don't do this. You're going to get these people killed.
We know what we're doing.
Yes, Will, you're a brilliant strategist.
We've got a strong leader.
I don't mean to doubt you, John, but...
No, not me. Lady Marion.
Not... What?
What do you think, Marion? We can't just sit back on this, right?
No, we can't.
What are they talking about?
She's the brilliant strategist, Robin, and she's kept us alive this far.
You... What?
You're a lot of wonderful things, Robin, but you might not be a genius.
You're their leader.
I prefer to think of myself as their benefactor. I have a lot of connections within the castle. I'm able to keep them abreast of information, when I spend more time at home at least.
Marion, if anyone were to find out about this...
Everyone knows about this.
Everyone?
My house was openly against the taxes. We stood alongside your father. It's no secret which side I'm on.
What if the sheriff were to come after you?
He can't. King Richard is my cousin. The political ramifications would destroy him.
Why didn't you tell me?
I assumed you knew. At first. When I realized you didn't, well, forgive me, but it was actually quite a bit of fun to play with you.
How have you not heard? All the villagers talk about Robin Hood and Marion's men.
Marion's men? I did hear that. I thought they called you merry men.
Oh, merry men?
Do I look fucking merry to you?
This is unbelievable. So why am I here at all, Marion?
Don't be like that.
What am I doing here? You're just using me and my family's name. You don't need me. You need a hero. You need Robin Hood. I'm not Robin Hood. Here, you. You're Robin Hood now. I'm done.
You're more than that, Robin. We need you.
Do we?
I need you.
I've spent my time leading battles, pretending to be a leader I'm not. If I'm going to run around as a fake figurehead for people to shoot at, I'd much rather be a king than an outlaw.
You're just going to walk away?
I'm sure I can find better company than that of thieves and liars.
Good riddance.
Will.
He's right. We don't need him. And this was never his fight. These are our people, our friends that need us. If Robin's willing to turn his back on people in need, then so be it. There are some of us here with the strength to stand up and do what's right.
We're not going to do nothing. Gisborne's men are spread out all across Nottinghamshire right now. If we wait for them to gather everything in Burnsdale, it will be too late.
So we've got to move fast.
It's time to fight back.
Scene 9. Burnsdale. 2 guards stand watch over the entrance of a straw-roofed shack as a third guard walks in with a crate of supplies, then leaves again. Once the third guard has disappeared, Much runs up to one of the remaining guards.
What's going on in there?
Go find your wonderful father, kid.
I'm just asking.
Suddenly, Much kicks the guard as hard as he can in the shin, turns and runs. The guard is quick to recover and runs after him.
Quickly now.
Alan and Tuck casually walk in from around the same corner. Tuck nods to the 2 of them as he walks into the shack.
Why, excuse me. Would you mind if we helped ourselves to some of those supplies you've been taking from the people?
By all means, take as much as you want.
Why, thank you, kind sirs.
Hurry up now.
Tuck walks off with a crate as Alan disappears inside.
Keep your ear out for the signal from Elena.
Don't worry about her. She can see everything from the tree line.
Oh, she's a fine girl, that one.
Elena? The best.
Don't ever take that for granted. Trust me there.
Oh, I won't. Every day she still surprises me.
What I wouldn't have given for a girl like that. Don't mistake me. I loved Marley with all my heart, God rest his soul. But to have a woman like yours, who's willing to go on robberies and fight with you back to back, now that's love.
Alan comes out of the doorway, standing between them, but doesn't say a word.
Don't tell me that's it.
Alan drops to his knees, and we see that behind him, Guy of Gisborne was waiting for them in the shack, and he has a knife to Alan's throat.
Damn it!
Alan!
Put your weapons down and get on your knees.
To hell with you!
That's fine. Just don't hurt him.
Little puts his staff down, steps away, and gets down on his knees. Scarlet is unsure, but eventually does the same. Gisborne pushes Alan away from the weapons, to where Scarlet and Little are. As he walks out of the shack, Ferrers and a guard are with him.
I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. Why bother wasting time trying to find a bunch of rebels when you could get them to come to you instead?
What you're doing here is wrong.
You're literally stealing. That's wrong. That's something both your king and God can agree on. Do you think yourself smarter than both of them? Ah, here's your friend.
3 more guards enter, escorting Tuck, who abjectly joins the group.
And what of the other one? Robin of Locksley.
He's not one of us.
Not one of you? Well, he'll be soon here, I imagine. I've got men searching the tree line as we speak.
It's true. He left us. Seems he didn't have the stomaching way for this life.
Well, then he may be smarter than I thought. How many more of you out there, then?
That's everyone.
Break one of their arms.
That's everyone, you bastard!
Is that true, brother?
Aye, that's everyone. If you won't believe me, then do what you will.
Do you believe him?
I can't think of a single reason why we should believe a word any of them say.
You are learning quickly. Go on, break it!
There's one more!
Don't.
Only one? You've got to be joking. You only brought 5 of you to do this? Who exactly did you think you were stealing from? All right, where is he?
It's Robin Hood. He's watching us from the trees right now.
Ah, I thought as much. The great Robin Hood!
He could put an arrow through 2 of your necks before you'd even realize it had happened.
They're lying, you fools. They're trying to catch you off guard.
Get to the sheriff!
The captain heard it and sprung sideways, wheeling around to meet the attack. His dagger thrust out where an assailant's stomach would have been, but there was no mob of villagers there, no surprise rescue. There was just the tip of Gisborne's knife as it pierced the apple of Much's neck. The world stopped. The force of the blow lifted Much's feet off the ground, her legs kicking limply forward, her body suspended on the blade. Her eyes were so wide and blue in that half moment before her blonde hair flung forward, obscuring her face. A small sword fell from her hands, twirling as her fingers lost their grip. Much and Gisborne moved to the ground, one over the other. When Gisborne pulled the knife out, with it came a thick, dark ribbon, just flowing out, just like that. Elena was pummeling a guard's face with her fist over and over, her knuckles broken and bloody. Then she was airborne and tumbling backwards. Something smashed against her face hard, too hard. When she could see again, it was Will in front of her, standing, wielding John's massive quarterstaff. Gisborne was there, still over Much's body, pointing at Will and yelling, and the two of them flew at each other. Gisborne swung slowly, and Will easily met him with the center of the staff, again and again, driving forward, or was he being driven back, until he snapped the staff around to the side of the captain's head, then hooked the murderer around the neck, pulling him forward. If Will had his knives, he could have ended this fight, but another guard came at him and he had to abandon Gisborne. There were 4 guards around Will. One slashed in high and found only splinters in the staff, but another came from the side, and Will blocked it too late. Then a boot was in Will's back and he went down, the staff rolling away from him. A dozen guards surrounded them, their swords leveled low, and Will had nothing.
You have brought this on yourselves! Cut them open!
We hear the sound of an arrow whizzing through the air, and the guard spins, an arrow stuck out of his chest.
Let them go, or you'll be dead before you speak again. We are leaving, and you are not to follow us. John, get Much!
Little walks over to the little boy's body and picks him up.
You'll hang for this. That I promise.
You want a promise? We promise this. Anyone responsible for hurting one of our own will pay with his life. That's a promise we'll take to our graves.
Elena disappears over the back of the shack. Ferrers moves to reorganize the men.
Go on, go after them.
No!
What?
They've taken their loss today. So have we. They won't strike again.
I thought you said we should be willing to do anything to maintain order.
We still have a lot of work to do today. It doesn't change anything. Continue loading the supplies.
Guy moves back to where Much was killed and picks up the knife from the ground, which he wipes off. He has difficulty coming to grips with what he has done, crosses himself, then breathes heavily and puts it behind him. He puts his knife away and walks off after the guards. Scene 10, Nottingham Castle, Sheriff's Office. Arable and William burst through the door, kissing passionately and oblivious to which room it is that they have pushed themselves.
We can't, not in here.
Don't be silly. We can lock the door from the inside.
Not here, I can't.
Are you sure?
He kisses her neck. She starts to waver.
After all, he's leaving soon. What's he going to care?
I can't.
Terrible.
I just can't. Tomorrow you'll be gone, William. Again. It was so hard to deal with that when you first left. Don't make it harder on me this time.
You know I wish I could stay with you, but I have to return to the king.
What is it?
This is a letter from the High Sheriff. Baron de Lacy was right. He's been removed from the sheriff's... my apologies, Baron.
Doesn't matter, as I see you've read.
Is there nothing to be done?
It's my fault. All of this. I've made many mistakes. I should have been more decisive. Anything that has happened, I am to blame.
Has Gisborne seen this?
Not yet.
Has anyone?
Just me.
Is Lord Gisborne to replace you? That man is a monster. I can't imagine what he'd do with all that power.
He'll spend the entire coffers searching for these outlaws. The county will be bankrupt, and my people will be living in fear. I've done a poor job of managing all of this.
It's not too late. As you say, no one has seen this.
Shall I ignore it, then? Another will come in a week, along with men to enforce it.
A week is all you need. Perhaps we can arrange a peace with the rebels before then.
Well, you clearly have an idea, so tell me.
Tomorrow when I leave, I'm meeting with Robin of Locksley first.
You said you had no way to contact him.
I lied, I'm sorry. With Robin's help, we'll arrange the peace meeting that we almost had a week ago. Then when Gisborne comes to power next week, the matter will have already been settled.
1 week.
1 week to finally do some good.
Gisborne will fight against us.
I can handle him for 1 week. After that, we'll both be gone. Erebel, take this. Burn it. Baron, important people are depending on you.
William kisses Erebel and de Lacy smiles. William and Erebel leave, and the two guards lock the door from the inside with a wooden bar. They step closer to de Lacy and remove their hoods. They are Scarlet and Elena.
Baron Roger de Lacy.
The Sheriff of Nottingham.
Who the hell are you?
You wouldn't know if we told you.
That was an interesting thing you just said. About being to blame for everything that's happened lately.
I don't know what you think you know, but this is not
what we know is that a child was murdered by your actions today.
What?
And I promised that the man responsible would pay with his life.
Who was killed? I don't know what you're talking about.
You can lie to us all you want. You're going to pay all the same.
Wait. Just wait and listen to me. If you kill me, there's going to be another sheriff.
Then we'll kill him too.
The boy moved quickly. He was too close, and then Roger's vision went white. He smashed the palm of his hand at the boy, who reeled backwards. What the hell is wrong with him? Roger wanted to scream, but his throat was tight and his clothes were drenched with sweat. The boy took a step back, and the knife in his hand was dark. He had been too close. Did he hurt himself? But no. Roger's clothes were sopping, and he looked down and saw the blood soaking his robes by his own stomach, dripping on the floor between his feet. No, he thought, he needed this week. A wound like this, he could be bedridden for a month. He didn't have that time. He had too many things to do. The girl must have been behind him. He felt her blade slip between his ribs. His arms went numb. They went cold. My God, they were so cold, and he was on the table. His limbs smashed its contents across the room. He had to leave. He had to get over the table and to the door. No, he had to talk to them. They had to understand. This wasn't an option. It simply wasn't. His fingers weren't working. He was staring at them, but they wouldn't move. With his elbow, he shoved himself upright, stumbling back into the wall. He couldn't believe how cold he was. It came from within him, like nothing he'd ever felt before. The boy was breathing heavily. The girl had to hold her knife with both hands. These two weren't killers. They were only playing at it.
Children.
Elena and Scarlet both move in and stab de Lacy again. Eventually, they lower his body to the ground, exchange a look with each other, and put their hoods back on. Scene 11, Locksley Castle. Robin is seated amongst the ruins of Locksley Castle. He has his bags packed nearby. We hear footsteps approaching, but he does not react. We see William climbing over some rubble to join him.
Robin, thank God you're here.
Hello, William. What a week we've had, eh?
Please tell me you had nothing to do with this.
Excuse me?
With what happened yesterday. You were supposed to be making things better. How did you let this happen?
Let what happen? I left them yesterday morning. They wouldn't accept my help.
Robin, they assassinated the sheriff.
What? Good God!
I can't leave now. You'll have to go back to King Richard alone and inform him of what's happening here.
Unbelievable.
Do you remember how to get to that campsite? That would save us some time.
Yes, of course. I could draw it out for you. Do you know who did it?
That fiery little one that attacked us?
Will Scarlet.
Yes, and his girl.
Elena, are you sure?
Absolutely. We captured them trying to escape. They'll be hanged at the Lacey's funeral.
Why on earth would they do such a thing? Those idiots!
They claimed it was revenge. There was an incident in Burnsdale. A child was killed.
They killed a child, too?
No, one of theirs.
Oh, God. Much. I never should have left them.
I'm sure you did what you could. But it's out of your hands now.
If I had stayed, this would not have happened. They don't know what they're doing.
It's too late now. We'll round them up. Just let me know where I can find them.
What's going to happen to them?
Don't think about that. They've made their choices.
Is there no possibility of keeping the peace?
They assassinated the sheriff. The new sheriff will not be able to turn a blind eye to their actions the way the Lacey did. No. They'll be hunted down, imprisoned, hanged.
Who's the new sheriff?
I am.
William, no!
Roger de Lacey was leaving anyways. He had written up papers to have me appointed. If your boys hadn't killed him, there may have been a peace. As it is, I'll have to play this through.
Play this through? By hunting down women and children?
Thieves and murderers!
Who are fighting for their own survival!
By killing the sheriff?
They're good people, William. This goes back a year ago to when the sheriff raised taxes.
This goes back a year ago when your father incited a rebellion.
What did they tell you about him?
Your father started this war. And for what?
It's easy to fight for something you believe in. He chose to fight for something that other people believed in because he knew they couldn't fight for themselves.
You are marching straight back to King Richard.
I'm not. I'm going to see this through as well. I can still effect a peace.
Peace is not possible until your outlaws are gone. And if you choose to join them, I will not be able to protect you.
What's the price of your peace, William? Will you kill me for it?
Would you make me?
Give me more time.
I can't. Your charge is to return to King Richard.
I disagree.
Are you leaving your post? Are you deserting your king?
Are you?
Out of respect, I will let you go. But if I ever see you again...
Don't be silly, William. You won't see me coming. King William, Sheriff of Nottingham.
King Robin.
Robin Hood.
svatinje smikedi, o ich julin lärt. Hiri varu vi, hiri varin Jehov, elendijn, o ich julin lärt. Maşıkmaz guhte ganye, maşlepi guhte yemin, o ich julin lärt. Hiri varu vi, hiri varin Jehov, elendijn, o ich julin lärt. Maschen tjesk toch einen gjane, maschen ronje dan nog kvare, o ich julin lärt. Hiri varu vi, hiri varin Jehov, elendijn, o ich julin lärt. Rodin joch kepalle kache, hugul toch een stunche tavach, o ich julin lärt. Hiri varu vi, hiri varin Jehov, elendijn, o ich julin lärt.
Act 2, Scene 1, Sherwood Forest, Robin's Camp. Tuck and Little sit as Tuck plucks away at a song.
Now is the knight gone on his way, the game he thought full good. When he looked out on Burnsdale, he walked on Robin Hood. And when he thought on Burnsdale, on Scarlet, Fox, and John, he blessed them for the best company that he had ever come. Take thy bow in hand, my son Robin, late much shall be with thee, and so shall William Scarlet, let no man die for me.
Why are you singing about Robin still?
The people like him.
He's departed.
They don't know that.
You should sing about Much. There's some generosity. I think, and that his parents weren't alive to see this happen.
Did you know his parents?
I did not.
Nor I. I think the only person who did was Much, which means they're gone now too. So yes, I'll be singing a song about Much so that people don't forget.
Hello, boys. You'll never guess who I found.
The devil knows his name.
Robin.
Get Marion.
Aye.
I heard about Burnsdale.
You'd be headstrong heading off, then.
You're probably right, but with your position, I'd like to stay and help.
There'll be a bounty on your head.
We're stuck in this. You've an opportunity to see yourself right with the king.
Given the company, I'd rather be an outlaw than a king.
There it is, then. Welcome back, Robin.
John, so catch me up.
After Bairnsdale, we went our difference to avoid capture. Scarlet and Elena never made it. We assumed that Ginsborn picked them up until we heard about the sheriff's death. That's got Scarlet all over it.
It was them, I've confirmed it.
Are they alive?
They're being held. They'll be publicly executed at De Lacy's funeral. We need a plan.
A plan? The plan is we hide and hope for the best.
With respect, that's not an option.
Oh, this is going to be good.
The new sheriff, William of Wendenall, he's coming for us.
We figured on that.
He's new to politics. It will take him time to get his feet, so we have to strike quickly.
I thought you were in favor of doing nothing.
Things have changed. We're at war now, and that's my specialty.
We're a little short on men.
A lot of village folk have offered to join and lend a hand, but there's no telling if we'd be inviting spies.
I can help with that, but the first thing we're going to do is get Scarlet and Elena back.
Back? They're locked up in Nottingham Castle.
Castle Rock is impenetrable.
They did it. They got inside and killed the sheriff, didn't they?
The castle was empty. All the guards were out on raids.
We don't know where they'll be.
We know where they'll be during the hanging.
Robin!
Marion!
Oddly, he wasn't that happy to see me.
I'll hug you if you want.
I prefer my ribs unbroken, thank you.
I knew you'd come back.
Did you?
You may be more like your father than you think.
How are you?
I'm fine, but we have a lot of work to do.
We're fine too. Thanks for asking.
Do me a favor, John, and round up whoever you can.
No point in wasting time.
As Alan leaves, he hands Robin his hood back, meaningfully.
I am. Help him.
Tuck awkwardly finds a reason to leave and exits, leaving Robin and Marion alone.
This is my fault, Marion. I shouldn't have left before, and I didn't mean the things that I said.
Yes, you did. But that's fine. You figured out you were wrong.
Too late.
Never too late to do what's right.
I wasn't sure I'd be welcome back.
Tragedy has a way of washing the past clean.
I really am sorry for leaving.
As you said.
Not just now, but all those years ago.
Robin.
What you've done here, how you've helped these people and fought with my father, it's really quite remarkable.
Remarkable? Is it able to be remarked upon?
It's amazing. I want to help in any way that I can.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
I'm not going anywhere this time.
They kiss.
Let's go. I want to hear your ideas before I leave.
Where are we going?
Back to my state. Don't worry, only for a little while.
Will that be safe? The sheriff knows that you're involved.
As I said, he can't touch me. And besides, right now there are a lot of things I can do to help from there. Here, I'm just another mouth to feed.
You should take someone for protection.
A bodyguard?
I'll do it myself.
Stop it. You're needed here. You can guard me while I'm still here, if you like.
Gladly, milady.
Another kiss as the lights fall. Scene 2, Nottingham Castle, prison cell. A prison cell in Nottingham Castle. Elena is curled up on the ground. A door opens and slams shut, and William enters the room with her, along with some water and a piece of bread.
Good morning, Elena.
Did you die this morning?
No.
Then not good enough.
What do you think would happen if I died? Would the next sheriff stop all the taxes and give money out to everyone for free?
This is a nice castle. It must have nice beds.
It does. Is that why you killed Baron de Lacy? For his bed?
We didn't start this war.
War now. Girl, don't pretend you know a thing about war. This is a holiday. What a luxury when paying taxes is your greatest concern. I've spent my time at the brink of humanity, where civilizations end. And I can promise you that 1 or 2 more dead bodies solves nothing.
Then let us go.
Someone will hang for the murder of Roger de Lacy. But it doesn't have to be you, Elena. Nobody of importance knows there were 2 murderers. Will Scarlet will hang, but a woman on the rope is a hard sight. Perhaps you're willing to bargain.
Willing to bargain?
The man you hate, the man who killed that boy. His name is Lord Guy of Gisborne. He has the desire and the ability to take the role of sheriff from me. He will storm into the Sherwood, he will hunt your friends and kill them like dogs, and he will parade their corpses through the town. Our rich friends will hail him as succeeding where Roger de Lacy and I both failed. His family is influential, mine is not. This is inevitable, which means that my only option is to beat him to it.
You want me to help you kill my friends?
They'll stand trial. The women and children will be left alone. Gisborne will not be so kind.
Will's life is the only thing I'm willing to bargain for.
I can't do that. The Baron's assassin will be publicly executed.
They don't have to know you released us. Forge an escape.
And I'm seen as incompetent.
Then your incompetence is the price of peace. You're asking me to sacrifice my friends, and you're unwilling to sacrifice your reputation.
Confidence in leadership is critical to creating the peace. A life is meaningless. I wouldn't expect you to understand.
So you would sacrifice your friend or your lover for this peace?
If I had no other choice.
Then I pity you. I too want peace, but I want peace for my friends and for my lover. Without them, there's no reason to fight for it. I wouldn't expect you to understand.
If I catch your friends without your help, I will hang all of them.
I killed the sheriff alone. Will is an innocent man. Hang me and let him go.
You give up your life for a dead man? Where's the sacrifice in that?
He may still surprise you.
Scene 3, Sherwood Forest, Robin's camp. Robin is leading a training exercise with Alan, Little, and others. Tuck watches. The men have paired up and are sparring with swords.
Sheriff's guards are trained in simple moves designed to work against unskilled opponents. Once you recognize these attacks, you should be able to avoid them simply enough. For instance, they may come at you with broad sweep. They'll follow that with a lunge. You see, you've left yourself vulnerable. Even if you block the sweep, your weapon will be knocked aside. But if you know this is coming, you can close the distance quickly. Come at me. Just follow the direction that they are swinging and move into it. They won't get a chance to prepare another attack, and you'll be close enough for a kill. Don't linger. Strike and move on.
What if they're not dead yet?
Remember, these men aren't so different than you. They have lives, families. I guarantee that if you injure them or prove you're the better fighter, they will run. Don't linger.
I swear, if they hang Scarlet or Elena, I'll kill them myself.
That was Elena's promise, and I stick to it. Whoever's responsible for one of our deaths has got it coming back.
For once, I agree with you. Just remember, if it comes to battle, everyone you kill might be a Scarlet, or an Elena, or a Much to someone else. Only take a life if you absolutely must. There are plenty of ways to subdue an enemy without killing them.
That's where this weapon right here comes in.
What, your ugly face? Gonna scare them off?
I'll scare you off.
Now let's move back to archery again.
Oh, we just did archery.
On the double. Best get used to running, John.
Best get used to disappointment, Robin.
What about you, Friar? We need every sword arm we can get.
Stealing supplies is one thing. Murder's another. There's no making that right in the eye of the Lord.
Really?
Don't worry. I don't begrudge you, but I've chosen a path that abhors violence.
These are extraordinary circumstances.
Those are the times it's most important to keep your value.
What if it comes to you or them?
Then it'll be me. We all have to die sometime.
Mind if I ask what brought you here, Friar?
I don't, but I'll only answer if you answer first. This isn't your fight.
I don't think I have a fight. I followed King Richard for almost 2 years, but the crusade isn't my fight. Richard has a noble cause, but it's not mine, and that's all right. Everyone doesn't have to have a noble cause, but when people do, they deserve to have someone fight for it. I'm good at fighting.
Sounds like you wanted to be an hero.
No.
I wouldn't blame you. You're used to dressing up as someone else, never taking any credit. You come back here and all of a sudden people are singing songs about you. Not King Richard, but you, Robin.
I didn't ask for that.
But you came back. Be careful. A man without a cause is dangerous. There's no place for heroes in heaven.
Is that the Bible?
There's no heroes in the Bible either. People just doing what they could, even in extraordinary circumstances.
All right then. Why are you here?
Beer?
Excuse me?
John Little stole a ransom worth of beer from my village. I asked him where he was going and whether or not he needed a friar. He accepted. I'm no hero either. Heroes die gloriously, but drunkards always survive.
I'm glad I came back, Friar.
You sure it didn't have anything to do with Marion?
Maybe a little to do with Marion.
Oh, pity that, huh?
Oh, that she is. Wait, what did you say?
I said pity.
I thought you said pretty. Why pity?
You haven't heard.
Haven't heard what?
She went back home.
I knew that a few days ago.
Once they knew where she was, the sheriff's men came for her.
They didn't.
Robin, it's not what you think.
Tell me.
Scene 4, Nottingham Castle, Sheriff's Office. William is at the desk and the door opens. William stops what he's doing, clearly dreading the conversation to come. Arable enters the room.
It's true, isn't it? I heard about it in the kitchen and I laughed. It was so ridiculous an idea that I laughed out loud. I came here to tell you about it so you could laugh too, but it's not a joke, is it?
It's not.
You're getting married.
Yes.
What did I do?
This has nothing to do with you.
How can you say that?
This is strictly for political reasons.
Where is any of this coming from?
Lady Marion is cousin to King Richard.
Don't you even say her name to me.
Her family is above reproach.
I'm sorry my family isn't wealthy. I didn't realize that's all you cared about.
Arabelle, I love you. You don't understand. My position here is resting on a knife's edge. Lord Gisborne would dethrone me at the first opportunity.
You're the sheriff now. You clearly get to do what you want.
But de Lacy never appointed me sheriff. I falsified those documents.
We're the only ones who know that.
Gisborne suspects it. He's going to make some bold moves and soon. And all of this will be for nothing. Do you want to see him in power?
Of course not.
By marrying into the house of King Richard, I buy myself security.
It's just that easy to you.
Easy. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten. Gisborne is breathing down my neck, and all of a sudden I'm in charge of protecting everyone from him.
Everyone but me! Have you thought of that, William? If you're getting married, you won't be able to protect me from him anymore. In fact, you've put me in greater danger. If he's mad at you, what's to stop him from coming to me to get to you?
I won't let that happen.
How? You think you can watch him every second? His heart is black. He murdered a child.
I promise you, I will take care of this.
What promises break to your politics?
Terrible.
What about us, William?
We can still...
What? No, we can't still. I can't still. With the man whose wife has the ear of the king, are you insane?
I'm so sorry.
Prove it. Put a stop to it now.
I'm so sorry. But I stand by the decision.
You're worthless. You could marry the king himself and you'd still be worthless.
Scene 5. Nottingham Castle, prison cell. Scarlet is seated in a small pool of light on the floor into which Gisborne enters.
You'll be hanged in 2 days. You should know you probably won't be fed in that time.
I could eat your heart.
No, you could. You could rip my body open and eat my heart.
If you had a heart at all.
Perhaps I'm mistaken, but you're the one in prison for murder.
You're really going to look me in the eye and tell me that you're not a murderer?
The child.
His name was Much.
Much. I don't suppose you would believe how I regret that.
It didn't look like you had a problem with it at the time.
Who do you think I am? It was over before I realized what was happening. I had a son. About that boy's age. I had 2 sons. They both caught sick around the same time. John was always the stronger of the 2 of them, and he came through it all right, but Henry, he was smaller. He was too weak. There was a moment when Much fell into my arms that he felt exactly like Henry. I didn't wish that to happen.
But it did.
I don't pretend otherwise, but I didn't put the boy in danger. I didn't bring a boy to a fight.
Don't!
I didn't murder him in cold blood. I didn't sneak into the boy's room and stab him to death, defenseless.
Much was innocent. The sheriff was not.
You weren't thinking when you brought a boy along. He's dead. Next, you brought your girl along here. She'll be dead soon. I suggest you start thinking about your actions rather than just doing them.
What do you mean?
You've started a war, boy. In the name of revenge, you've killed all of your friends. And what's worse is, you didn't even get the credit for it.
What credit?
The people think the sheriff was killed by Robin Hood.
What?
They're rallying to his cause in droves.
Are you kidding? He's gone. He left. He's the one that got us into this situation. I just tried to fix what he messed up. That coward walked out on us.
He's the problem. You see that, don't you? The people won't listen to reason anymore. They think Robin Hood will save them from their troubles. He'll lead them to a bloodbath.
But if he were gone, things could return to normal.
I can arrange for you and Elena to get out of here, back to Sherwood safely. In exchange for your lives, I want Robin's.
If I kill Robin, they'd kill me.
They don't have to know you did it. I can give you a poison. My apprentice has it. He's waiting outside. You mix it in a drink. No one will know it's you. All it takes is a small amount.
You would set us both free? What if I didn't go through with it?
No offense, but you're a small piece on a very big board. If you don't do it, I get to kill all of your friends, which, frankly, I was looking forward to. It's quite uncharacteristic of me to try to help you out like this.
Then why help me?
How do you think it is that you got into the sheriff's office with no one stopping you?
You knew we were coming.
Of course I did. We've already been helping each other, whether you knew it or not.
The escape. How would it work?
Scene 6, Sherwood Forest, Robin's camp. Nighttime, and the mist hangs heavily on the outskirts of the camp. Robin is seated, sharpening his sword. Alan joins him, carrying 2 cups.
Robin,
Alan?
I brought one for you.
Oh, no, thank you. I won't sleep well.
2 for me, then.
You'd best get some sleep for tomorrow.
They'll be expecting us?
They'd be foolish not to. A public funeral, a public hanging, they're practically inviting us inside.
Do you think it's a trap? I'll bet I could cut both their nooses off the gallows with a single arrow.
I can't promise we'll get him back.
I know, but at least we'll die trying.
You mean that?
No. I don't want to die. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. First of all, he shouldn't have taken Elena with him. He should have taken me. Second of all, I would have told him not to go in the first place. I don't know how he let himself get so carried away. We never got into any real trouble before. There was a scare or 2, but nobody ever got killed. That's for certain. Sorry. Excepting your father. I tell you that I knew him. Terrible thing what happened. I had been pulling grain for him for about a year beforehand. He was nice, but he had a strong head about the king this and the government that. They said he took his boy away. If I were him, I would have just paid the taxes. Well, he believed in something, and he got dead. Will Scarlet? I suppose he believes in something, and he's about to get dead. Elena, too. Little John? They're all fighting for the land, or for the people, or something. And you know why I'm here? It's fun. The stealing, and the fighting. And you know how exciting pulling grain is? There's no fun in it. And there's no coin in it. This is fun. And at least it was until people started dying.
You know why Friar Tuck is here? Beer.
Is that what he told you?
Beer. He wanted to be where the beer was.
Tuck's a humble man. Nobody does this for beer.
Nobody does this for fun, either.
Well, let's get Elena back.
Hello, boys.
Oh, son of a... We were just talking about you.
I found them. They're over here.
What are you doing here? We were supposed to rescue you.
We escaped.
You escaped?
Were you followed?
No. Hello, Robin.
I'll get the others.
You don't know what you've put us through.
You think I was just going to let them hang me? Go on, I could take care of myself.
Where's Elena?
She should be right behind. We had a hard time finding you.
Well, we've been moving camps and leaving fake trails. Keep the sheriff looking.
Well, it almost tricked me, so it will certainly trick them.
You gave us a scare. I thought I was going to have to watch you die tomorrow.
What was the plan? You'll sneak into the funeral and start killing people?
Maybe.
Let me guess. Robin's plan?
Huh?
Looks like I came back just in time. What would you do without me?
Robin returns. With him is Little and Tuck. He embraces Scarlet.
Well, aren't you a sight? Welcome back, Will.
Ah, it's good to see you both.
I believe this calls for celebration. Here, anyone?
What'd I tell you?
Where's your girl?
Here she is.
Good evening, everyone.
Lena.
It's so good to have you back, Elena.
2 friends back, 2 drinks each. I insist.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Yes, let me help too.
You should be sitting down and resting. Let us tend to you.
It's no trouble.
So, how the hell did you 2 get out of there? I bet you left a trail of blood all the way.
We'd best hope not.
We got the sheriff. Did you hear that?
That we did.
They know we keep our promises now.
That's something we should have decided as a group.
You're right. You're right. But In the heat of the moment.
In the heat of the moment is the most important time to think clearly.
All right. Let's talk about that tomorrow. Tonight, we celebrate. Hand me another drink.
Let's take it easy, Alan.
What's the point in that? I intend on sleeping all day.
We're still going to Nottingham Castle tomorrow. This changes nothing.
What?
What are you talking about?
Scarlett and Elena are back. And that's great, but Wendell is not going to admit that they escaped in the middle of the night. He's still going to hang someone for the murder of the sheriff. We can't let him have that victory.
Forget it. Who's he going to kill? Some old prisoner he's been keeping around for years?
He'll declare it a victory against us.
Against us? Or against Robin Hood?
What's more, we're still down one person. I intend on rescuing Lady Marion tomorrow as well.
Robin?
Since when was that part of the plan?
Lady Marion's not a prisoner.
Why didn't you tell us?
What's happened to Marion?
She has been taken against her will to the castle to be married to Wendell. We're not going to let that happen.
Robin, she can handle herself.
She's not going to marry him.
You'll never get to her. Every guard in Nottinghamshire will be there tomorrow. We'd be massacred.
You escaped. You know the way in and out.
We had help.
Who?
We were hoping to tell you first. It's all right. You can come now.
Don't be angry now.
You brought him here?
No, we brought her here.
Elena has walked to the edge of the light and summoned someone. An Arable enters from the woods.
You'll be wanting to step over here, Elena.
What's wrong?
You led an outsider directly to our camp?
There's nothing to worry about. She's the one who set us free.
My apologies, gentlemen. I understand your caution. My name is Arabelle de Burle, and I beg for your hospitality.
Hospitality?
I didn't know what else to do. I don't think I'm safe in the castle anymore. I thought maybe if I helped your friends, you'd be able to help me.
She means well. She risked a lot.
She risks less than you do, Will. She knows where our camps is now.
She's not going to tell anyone.
They're not going to ask her nicely.
She's not going back. She wants to stay with us.
She can't stay here.
She has to stay here. You just said why.
We can't turn her away with what she knows, but without a guarantee where her loyalties lie, she can't roam around freely either.
What are you going to do? Lock her up?
Someone within the enemy's walls offers to set you free. All you have to do is show them where your secret camp is, and you don't suspect a thing about it. What the hell were you thinking?
Let's hear her out, at least.
Thank you.
Terrible. You are either greatly brave to be here or equally foolish. Your timing is very dangerous. You need to give us a reason to trust you.
I brought 2 of your friends here that were to be hanged. Does that count for nothing?
Not if you bring 30 guards here tomorrow.
Tell them about Gisborne.
Lord Gisborne, he came to my chambers. He was furious and he threatened me. He said that if I disobeyed him, that it would be the last night I'd ever see. I was so frightened.
Why didn't you tell the sheriff?
William! He won't protect me. He doesn't even care about me. He probably never even did. Probably happier with me gone anyways.
So what did you do?
I wanted to run, but I didn't know where. And Gisborne started talking about your friends. I think that's what had him so agitated. I thought I could get back at him and William and buy myself some new friends, people who could protect me.
And nobody stopped you.
They had no reason to.
Give us a moment.
They gather away from Arable, Scarlett, and Elena to confer. They drink as they speak.
She seems genuinely scared.
That's what troubles me. She made this decision rashly, emotionally. In a day or two, when she's no longer afraid, she'll realize how much she's giving up.
That doesn't mean she'll betray us.
She betrayed her entire life because she was afraid. The next time Gisborne threatens her, you think she won't tell him about us?
Listen, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. We're only looking at this the worst case scenario.
Meaning?
Robin refills Alan's cup from his own untouched drink.
You see her as a possible spy against us. What if she were a spy for us? If she wants to help us, I say let her. She knows the inner workings of the castle, of the sheriff. She can get us access to Gisborne. Who knows what else?
That's true. She's got value.
I doubt she'd be strong enough to work as a spy.
Then what are we arguing for? Just look at her. She's terrified. She needs help. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing here?
It's a big risk.
What's the point of this if we don't take any risks?
We keep a close eye on her.
I don't like it.
Fine! Then we're going to have to kill her!
What?
That's not...
We are going to have to kill her, right? There's no other way. If she's a spy, we have to kill her. And we don't know if she's not a spy. So we have to treat her like one.
That's enough, Alan.
Please, nobody even knows I'm gone. I won't tell anyone.
That's the way it's always been, though, right, Will? It's fine to put anyone else in danger as long as you get what you want.
What?
Hi, Elena. How are you?
What's wrong with you?
Suddenly, Alan coughs and spits blood out of his mouth. He touches the blood in his face, seems to be unaware of what is happening, reels about, coughs some more, and starts to spasm.
God in heaven.
Alan! Alan!
Get some water. Get some help.
I'll get some salts.
What in the hell just happened?
Was that blood? Is he sick?
Alan, what's wrong with you? What was he doing?
We were just talking, then he started screaming.
You're right.
Watch her.
Alan! Alan! Oh, God.
What is it?
No, no.
What is it?
He's not breathing. He's dead.
On your knees. What did you do to him?
I did nothing, I swear.
We tried to help you, and you came here to kill us?
I didn't do it. Please believe me.
We trusted you.
What did she do?
She poisoned him.
Poison?
It's in the drink. From my drink. He drank from my cup. She was trying to kill me.
I don't know what happened to him.
We were going to help you.
You brought an assassin into our camp. This is on your head.
Don't you dare.
I say we kill her. Kill her right now. We swear that whoever is responsible for killing one of our own will pay in kind.
I want her dead before he's cold.
Listen to me. I was standing there the whole time. I couldn't have done anything.
She was out of sight for a while when we showed up. She must have snuck around and poisoned the bear then.
Wait. If she poisoned the beer, we'd all be dead. Only Robin's cup had poison and she was never near it.
That's right, she wasn't. When you showed up, you said hello to me as if you expected me to be here. But the last thing you knew, I left to go back to the war. Why weren't you surprised to see me, Will?
Lord Gisborne came to me myself. He told me that you had returned. He offered my freedom, mine and Elena's, if I came here and poisoned you. But I told him no, Robin. I told him no.
I told him yes.
Lena.
I didn't mean to kill Alan.
You meant to kill me.
I didn't even think. I saw the cups, I just did it.
Why?
Because he was right, Will. Gisborne was right. He was right that Robin is to blame for all of this. He's brought all this pain upon us, but they sing songs about him. They should be singing songs about Will Scarlet.
You're listening to the man who killed Much?
I didn't bring any pain to you. You got yourselves in enough trouble, which is why I showed up, not the other way round.
We wouldn't have been at Locksley Castle if not for you, so we wouldn't have been involved in the fight that got us here.
Elena, don't you see that he was trying to use us? You've done exactly what he wanted.
I wasn't going to let you die.
I do not accept Alan's life as a trade for my own.
I didn't mean to kill him.
I don't accept Robin's life either. We made our decision. I was willing to die for it.
You deserve better. You should be leaving these people, not this stranger.
So you think he should die? That would be the leadership you prefer?
You're better than him.
You've been whispering that in my ear ever since he showed up. He didn't get to see Elena. You did. Oh, Robin was trying to teach Much to defend himself. You taught him to sneak up from behind. But he wasn't killed. You were the one that wanted to use him in the raid in Burnstall. You attacked Gisborne at Locksley Castle. It was even your idea to kill Sheriff de Lacy. And now you've killed my best friend! What exactly about my life have you not ruined?
You were going to kill me. You were going to kill me to hide your secret. I risked everything to help you.
No, I know.
You swore an oath, Elena. You swore that we should pay in kind anyone who does us harm. And you've got quite the head count.
Wait, John.
What are we supposed to do with you, girl? You say you're sorry, we all go about our business? You're working with the enemy. We were thinking about killing that girl just for suspecting that.
John, you can't mean this.
You betrayed us. You killed Alan.
Oh, go away. You'll never see me again.
Gisburn will find you. He can't let you live either. He arranged for your escape.
He didn't arrange it.
How did you get the keys to the cells?
He left them behind.
He positioned you into this. He used you to bring Elena to us.
You know me. You know I'm on your side. I made a mistake.
I know you did, girl. A big mistake.
It's me, John, not a stranger. Doesn't that count for anything?
I promise to make it quick.
Let me take my chances, please. Just don't do this.
Oh, I have an idea. Let's have Alan decide.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Turn your head, Will. You shouldn't see this.
No, please. We can't do this. It's Lena. Let her go. Let her run.
Will.
I'll go with her. I'll leave too. It's my fault. I brought her here.
Will, my love.
My love? You don't get to call me that.
Well, everything that I did.
Stop talking.
Will. They'll catch her. They'll torture her. You won't be able to live with yourself. Better if we do it. There's a pity there.
I would hate you for it, John. I'd rather hate myself.
I can take it. You can't.
Elena suddenly slips from Little and grabs Alan's cup, drinking deeply from it. Scarlet and Little both try to stop her, but are too late. She turns around and holds on to Scarlet.
I'm so sorry.
Lena, no.
I love you. You know that, right?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Let's get out of here together.
You're the best man I've ever met. And of course you said no to Gisborne because you're so good. And I'm not. So I don't deserve you anyways.
Let's go. Let's go right now.
You deserve the best. Because you're strong. And you're smart. You did the right thing when nobody else would.
It wasn't the right thing to do.
I tried to do the right thing, Will.
I know.
I tried. I really did.
I know.
I'm sorry.
She choked for air. Every now and then came a little whimper between her fits, the scratching of her feet and hands clattering through the dirt, and the gentle pattering pecks of Will kissing her as she convulsed. His own breathing was fast and heavy, but he made no other noise except to say, "I know," again and again, until they weren't even words at all. Eventually, the unbearable sounds of her struggling body faded bit by bit, and was replaced with a telling quiet that was so very much worse. After she was still, and sometime even later after that, Will screamed. It sent a chill down John's spine, a wretched, naked noise he would never forget. Will let it out now, all of it, part of himself too. The others stood unmoving, gravestones in the mist. When Will had no more to cry, they stood in silence still. As the fog grew barely thinner, just enough to reveal a few of the figures in the trees, still they stood. It didn't really matter when the first of the intruders stepped forward.
You're certainly making it easier on me by killing yourselves off.
Son of a bitch!
She led them right to us!
You followed me. You planned this. How did you know I would do it?
I didn't. I didn't think she would actually try to kill Robin either. Today must be my lucky day.
You're a monster!
There are two different stories I could tell when we return. The first is of a handmaiden who betrayed her country. The second is of my future wife, who avenged the late sheriff.
I can't.
Oh, fancy yourself a conversationalist now. You're pretty, dear. Let's leave it at that. So go on then. Am I to treat you as one of them? Or are you going to come home with me?
Never!
Never. Yes, that's what I thought. All right then, let's take all of them into custody. You see, Ferrers, it's good to offer mercy.
Come and get us.
Stay down and cover your face.
Now's as good as time is any.
Ooh, I have an excellent idea. Let's not do this again. Last time I think you started shooting my men from the tree, and all of you escaped. That's fine. That's an option. I was thinking of another. You obviously outnumber me. Looks like you have housing for almost 200 across the way, yes? So no, I'd rather not fight. Let's have you come along willingly, and we'll save ourselves the trouble.
Why would we do that?
Generosity? No? All right, then this, maybe. This is a signed edict from Lord William Wendenall, the Sheriff of Nottingham. That's his signature right there, if you're doubtful. That demands the complete razing of Sherwood Forest.
What?
You couldn't.
Every last tree burnt to the ground. If either of you do not come willingly, or if I do not report back by the morning. This isn't the only copy, obviously. Fire brigades will leave the castle on first light and start fires on all sides of Sherwood. The smoke will make an excellent backdrop for Baron de Lacy's funeral.
You will burn in hell for this.
You're still going to hang tomorrow, by the way. Oh, and I never had any sons.
You can't burn down an entire forest. There are women and children here. You wouldn't just murder them.
I've burned down one Locksley before. I'm slightly hoping you'll fight back so I can burn down another.
Don't, Robin. It's exactly what he wants.
What I want? What I want is for you to obey the law! You do remember that you are the criminals, right? You're stealing from the king. You assassinated a public official. You're inciting a rebellion while we're at war. What I want is for you to all grow up. And if you refuse, then yes, I want to kill you.
At this moment, Tuck has returned from behind one of the guards and attacks him from behind.
What is wrong with you?
Done! A moment later, a wall of raiders crashed through their circle. Half of Guy's men were taken by surprise, slammed off their feet, overthrown in an instant. They brought weapons, bundles of them, and quickly armed the remaining outlaws while Guy's men were still rallying to make sense of what was happening. The villagers met his men in fury, steel shattered through the night. Guy's world shrank to the size of the two thieves rushing him. They raised their weapons and howled. Guy cracked his sword down upon the first one's blade, up high by the guard in hopes it would break. Then he pivoted to twist counterclockwise, dragging his longsword behind him and ending with a reckless slash through the man's jaw, slinging purple pulp in its path. All around him, the torture of steel and men clattered through the trees. His body moved on instinct. He parried a skinny man's lunge and used the momentum to cut through the man's arm below the elbow, then a sidestep and a drag of his blade through the man's belly. A shape that could only be John Little was grappling with an unknowable guardsman. Little's staff was around the man's back, held with both hands, trapping the guardsman between the wood and Little's chest. Little screamed, pulling the staff towards him, and the man's back broke, limply sloughing off away into nothing. To another side, a crowd of blurry bodies was gathering, the way men rally at the edges of a bar fight. Through a hole between bodies, Guy caught a glimpse of the carnage. He watched Scarlet slash down at a guard twice his size, who caught both of Scarlet's wrists midair. But Scarlet jumped up and kicked into the man's stomach, and when his wrists were released, he stabbed them both up. Good God, up through the guard's big ox face, down to the hilt. In the next breath, he twisted away and windmilled his arms through the air as he slapped a sword down with one strike and slashed through its owner's shoulder with the next. Too many, Guy swore, finally close enough, unnoticed, and buried his longsword into Scarlet's side. Incredibly, the man had moved one blade in time to protect his ribs, barely saving himself from being cut in half. But as Scarlet collapsed, another shape interceded between them, saying something lost to the din. Though Guy could not recognize the words, he was far too familiar with their author. The traitor Robin of Locksley's face was bloodied. They did not speak, but they did not need to. Whatever raiders were still alive stood back as if to recognize the necessity of this duel. They began properly, a slow circle, watching each other's footwork, shifting their blades between stances. Their blades dipped in unison, sweeping in the same lines, returning and rejoining. They only barely even made contact, the two swords but kissing as they breathed through the air. At the perfect rare chance, Guy backhanded Robin across the face and came swinging down into him again, and Robin dropped to his knees to block. The strength of the blow was massive, and Robin's sword smashed down and out of his hands. It was impossibly over.
Is this what you wanted?
Don't act as if you care. You mean to burn down the forest.
You mean to burn down the country. Stay on your knees.
No argument there. You're not the sort of man I'd ever stand up for.
I don't need your respect. Everyone else will stand for the man who stopped Robin Hood.
In retrospect, he should have heard her approach. Guy felt mail break in his lower back, barely punctured. A single shard of metal link stabbed the flesh in his already bruised ribs. The pain was no worse than the rest of his body, but it jolted Guy forward. Robin rose and plucked the long sword from his hands in that one moment of disadvantage. No amount of skill or valor or decency mattered in the instant of her craven attack from behind. Arable was just fucking lucky.
That's a coward that does that.
Their positions had quickly reversed. Guy now kneeled before Robin, who clutched Guy's sword in both hands, one on each knee as he buckled over to catch his breath. Arable held her stolen sword out in front of her, her heavy cloak whipping behind her as though she were the greatest hero that ever walked the earth. Guy's men scattered.
Fine then. Don't hurt them. You won. But damn you for it. Damn you for how you did it. What does it matter, Robin? You can't kill me. If you kill me, the forest burns tomorrow. So what then? We go our separate ways for now, just to do this again later, and again and again? How many more of my men have to die? How many more of yours will you sacrifice before I inevitably catch you? Just come with me, Robin. If you don't, we'll keep on as we have, as animals, butting our heads. We fought at Locksley Castle, we fought at Burnsdale, we fought here. We'll fight at De Lacy's funeral. We'll fight at Lady Marion's wedding. All for nothing.
A flick of his hand, and Robin Hood slid the tip, just the tip of his sword, through Guy's neck.
The few guards that are conscious try to him as well. Little and Tuck grab him and subdue him.
That's enough, Robin. That's it.
That's not it! He's going to burn the forest down!
He's not insane. He won't do it.
He will. We've done it in the war, and William sees this as a war now.
All right, then we have to stop him.
How?
We've only got until the morning before those fire brigades start.
Then we move tonight. We go to the castle.
I told you, we can't get in.
I can get you in. I said no one knows I'm missing yet.
You said that before.
Right, nobody alive knows I'm missing. There's a servant's entrance. The watchman there is sympathetic. He'll get us in.
Are you sure you want to do this? Simply running away is one thing. Getting revenge is another.
I understand. I'll get you inside, but I won't go with you. William is dangerous and out of control, but I couldn't bear to see him hurt.
Hopefully it won't come to that.
I have a feeling it will. All of us should go.
No, we should split up. Some of us should see what we can do about stopping those fire brigades.
You don't want your shot at William?
I do, but we need to do this right. You and Little John go to the castle. Tuck and I will rally the rest of the men to intercept the fire brigades.
We'll reconvene here in the morning.
Good luck, Robin.
Good luck yourself, and thanks.
Robin, Little, and Arable head off into the woods. Scarlet is going to head in the opposite direction, but turns to Elena's body as Tuck watches.
I'll make you proud.
Scene 7. Nottingham Castle. A bedroom. Marion is seated in a room. There is commotion outside the door and the sound of guards rushing off, shouting. Quickly the door opens and Little flies into the room.
Oh! Hey!
John, what on earth?
Lady Marion! Well, that works out nicely.
What are you doing here? How did you get here?
Well, no worrying about that now. It wasn't anything difficult. All the same, best we stay here for a bit.
Stay here for a bit. You're going to get yourself killed.
No, Robin might.
Robin's here too? What's going on?
Well, it was going fine for a while. Nobody saw us. And then someone saw us. Then there was a lot of running. Oh, I remember the running, and I don't like running. Robin, he knows what he's doing with the sword, I'll give him that. And he's fast. But I couldn't necessarily tell you where he is now.
John, catch your breath and talk to me.
We're here to rescue you.
You're here to rescue me? Who's we?
Robin and I.
You came alone?
Admittedly, it made more sense earlier.
Here's the tricky part, John. What are you rescuing me from?
From the sheriff, from his clutches.
His clutches?
But we're not only here for you, don't get ahead about it. We've come to stop the sheriff.
Stop him from doing what?
He's going to burn down Sherwood Forest, Marion. He signed an edict, and if we don't stop him by tonight, he'll burn it down first thing tomorrow.
He's not going to burn down the forest.
He is.
He's not. Do you have even the slightest idea of how much work that would take? It couldn't be done in a month, much less a morning. Besides, I wouldn't let him.
You wouldn't let him? What's going on here?
What do you think is going on here?
We thought the sheriff kidnapped you and is forcing you to marry him.
I am going to marry him.
Do we have to stop that?
No, you don't.
You care to fill me in on the why?
We are trying to bring stability to Nottinghamshire. Ever since the new taxes last year, the division in this land has gotten worse and worse. I thought that we could help, but eventually it caught up to us. I want peace. William wants peace. But there are others in his camp that disagree, Lord Gisborne first amongst them. By marrying into my family, into King Richard's family, William will have more power. As for me, I'll be able to actually make a difference. With connections inside the castle, the ability to influence policy, I can protect you all much better from here than anywhere else.
You think he'll listen to you?
He does listen to me. He already has. He came to me for advice on this. Marriage was my idea, John.
And you want to marry him?
Well, no. I mean, he's not ugly. I could do a lot worse.
But you don't love him?
Of course not. We don't get the luxury of marrying who we love.
I think that might be why Robin wants to rescue you.
Why?
He probably loves you.
He probably does.
And that's it?
As I said, I don't get that luxury. What I can accomplish here is more important than that.
They were going to hang Will and Elena. You know that?
I wouldn't have let them.
Well, what in the hell am I doing here?
You're a good man, John Little.
You know what, Lady Marion? You're a better man than I am.
Am I?
That you are. Oh, hell. Elena, she took her own life, Marion.
What?
Alan's dead, too. And Lord Gisborne. It was such a fury, everyone's tempers were up and firing
John,
around.
whatever's going on, just stop it.
I don't know.
Stop it, John. What are you doing? Don't you see you're making it worse? I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to save all of you. And I can't do it if you just keep running around killing each other.
We didn't know.
Get out of here. Go before someone sees you. Get back to the others and just do nothing. For God's sake, for once, just do nothing. Get drunk, sleep for a week, and let me handle this. We are on the verge of bringing things back to some kind of order here, but you just keep stirring things up.
All right. I'll go.
Find Robin before he does anything stupid.
Marion, we were only trying to do right by our own.
I know, John. We all are. Don't tell Robin about this.
He won't leave without you.
Tell him I'm already gone. Tell him I left the castle and I went back to the camp. Tell him he'll see me tomorrow.
He won't appreciate being lied to.
Tomorrow, tell him the truth.
He'll come back for you.
Tell him I love William.
He won't believe it.
Tell him I love him then. I don't care what you tell him. Just don't let him come back here. You too. I'll send a messenger if we need to talk, but don't expect to see me again. Go!
Milady.
Scene 8. Nottingham Castle, Sheriff's Office. William is seated at his table, working on something. Similar to the previous scene, there is noise outside of the door, guards running about, and some sword play. William does not seem to care much about it. There is a moment of silence. Then Robin bursts triumphantly through the door, which splinters at its hinges.
How'd I know you'd be hiding in here?
Hello, Robin.
It's time to pay for what you've done!
Will you sit down, please?
Oh, no men to hide behind, eh?
You look exhausted. Let me get you something to drink.
You're not going anywhere.
Robin puts his sword to William's chest. William barely slows, brushing it away.
What are you doing, Robin?
Lord Whittenell, the outlaws are...
Here. Yes, they're right here. Look. Would you get us some drinks, please?
Get you what?
Some drinks. For Christ's sake, is anyone capable of talking to each other?
The time for talking is over!
Ah, that was very dramatic. Thank you, Robin. Are you bleeding?
He'll do more than that.
Get out of here! Get us some drinks and some gauze. Tell everyone to settle down!
Settle down?
They snuck through the servants' gate. There's another.
Perez, please! Sorry about that. You could have told me you were coming. Would you put that away? This room is tiny. What are you...
You're a traitor to the king, William.
What? Who have you been talking to? Have a seat.
I've been talking to your dog, Lord Gisborne. He brought me this. Are you going to tell me that's not your signature?
Do you think I am insane? I'm not going to burn down the forest. That was a ruse. It was Gisborne's idea. He thought it might lure you out into the open. Apparently it worked.
It bears your signature.
Well, you wouldn't have believed it otherwise. If I thought you were going to fall for it, I wouldn't let him try. This is a delicate position. I think you would appreciate that. So how have things been going on your end?
How have things been going? People are dying!
I'm trying to put a stop to that.
By how? Hanging them?
Robin, where are you? We're friends, don't you remember? We came here for the same reason. Don't get caught up in all this.
I'm not the one who declared myself sheriff.
You didn't declare myself sheriff.
That's not what Arable says.
Arable? What did she say to you?
She told me about the letter from the High Sheriff of Yorkshire, that Roger de Lacy was to be replaced by Lord Gisborne, and that you told her to burn the letter and claimed the seat for your own.
There's no proof.
She didn't burn the letter. She gave it to me.
Why?
She's the one who let us in here. She came to us earlier this night. She let Will Scarlet and Elena free from prison.
She what? Arable, what have you done?
You are acting in direct opposition of an order by the High Sheriff. You have disregarded the commands of King Richard himself. You have practically staged a coup and illegally taken control of Nottingham Castle.
Now, wait just a moment.
Then you order me the murder of my men. You kidnap Lady Marian and force a marriage upon her.
What?
All in the name of order? In the name of peace? You sign an edict to raze the forest, to scare hundreds of people out of their homes. Is this safety to you?
Robin, slow down. Let me explain myself.
Ferrers re-enters the room with 2 cups and some gauze. He puts the cups on the table in the center of the room.
Oh, thank you. Right here, please. Would you do me a favor and dress the wound on his arm?
I gave that to him.
All the more reason. Here, Robin, drink.
So you can poison me as well.
William, agitated, sets his own drink down, reaches for Robin's and drinks from it, then puts it back in front of Robin. He is clearly not poisoned and sits down again.
I'm not trying to kill you. I'm not staging a coup, and I'm certainly not forcing anyone into marriage. You, on the other hand, have taken control of a band of mercenaries, are calling the people to rebellion, have been at fault for the assassination of a sheriff. What else? The least of which stealing from the king's personal supply stores is, if I may remind you, what we came here to stop in the first place. Which one of us is more likely a traitor to the king, Robin?
You were never appointed sheriff. Anything you do as such is an act against the king. How can you deny that?
Would you prefer Lord Gisborne as a sheriff? That's what I was up against. You would have done the same. When we were attacked in the woods, if you had run and I had stayed, if our roles had been reversed, you would have done the same as I, every step.
Gisburn is dead. I killed him myself.
You can't just go around killing public officials whenever it suits you, Robin.
So step down. If you took the sheriff's office only so that Gisburn wouldn't, prove it. He is no longer a threat. Step down and release Marion.
Marion, is that why you're here? Is that what it comes down to?
Will you step down?
Why? Do you fancy her? You can't see beyond that.
You know you won't because you like the power. You don't care about peace. You care about yourself, King William.
Marion and I can restore the peace here.
I will denounce you. I will show everyone that letter from the High Sheriff. I will send a message to King Richard himself about your treason. What then will be the point of marrying Marion? Step down, William.
And then what? Who will replace me? If not Gisborne, who? Who in your mind will fill the sheriff's office that will not do as I have done? You, King Robin?
I'm no king.
You and I should know better than anyone. It doesn't matter who wears the crown. The orders are the same. If you kill the king, there's another one behind him. What did killing Roger de Lacy get you? Me. What would denouncing me get you? This man, probably. William de Ferrers. What would you do if you were Sheriff Ferrers?
I'd raise the forest.
You see, Robin? I can make this better. This isn't war. You don't win by killing everyone else. There are some that would sit here and do that. I am the best chance for reason.
You're a traitor, William.
How long have you known me? What are you even fighting for?
Someone's got to fight for it.
You have no idea what your own cause is.
That doesn't make me wrong.
Do you remember when you were shot with that arrow? The wound in your calf?
I do. If I remember correctly, I wasn't even supposed to be in the crown that day.
That's right. It was my day. But you had lost the bet the night before.
No, I didn't lose the bet. You tricked me.
Well, you shouldn't have bet. You knew I was up to something.
That's true. I didn't care.
I remember seeing you when you got hit. My first instinct was to laugh.
Oh, thank you.
William has been drinking from Robin's cup and hands it to Robin, who no longer refuses it. He offers Robin the gauze as well, who casually declines. Robin puts his sword down on the table. William picks up his own cup.
What went through your head? You didn't scream.
I didn't. I remember knowing that it was a minor wound instantly, and that the king shouldn't scream, so I didn't. Then I remember being proud that it worked. I was proud that they attacked me and that Richard was safe. Until then, I never really knew if it was a good strategy. At times, it even seemed cowardly, but when the arrow hit, I knew we were doing the right thing.
You know what I remember thinking?
What's that?
I remember being glad it wasn't me. Cheers, old friend.
Cheers.
He raises his drink to Robin and they toast. William drinks quickly. Robin watches him for a moment and smiles. Robin pulls deeply from his own drink, and William reaches across the table and slices Robin's exposed neck with a concealed knife. Robin kicks violently. His drink flies down. He sputters and collapses. William grabs him and helps him to the ground, overwhelmed with horror, but prevents Robin from reaching either his sword or his own neck. Continues to wrestle with Robin long after he has died.
I'm sorry, Robin. I'm sorry. We swore an oath to the king, an oath of fidelity, an oath to protect our country from all dangers, even from within itself, even from those we love. You broke that oath, Robin. You broke that oath, not I. All you've done is endanger the people. And I'm sorry. I can't let you stop this peace. There will be a peace in Nottingham. And I will be its architect. I will do it. Even if I have to drag everyone like a child. If I have to kill every man who would stand in my way, I will see it done. There isn't a friend or a father or a lover worth more than that. And if I am the only one willing to sacrifice for it, then...
Without warning, William starts coughing up blood, which he is now only starting to realize. He looks at the blood in his hands, slowly turns to look at the cup that he drank from, and then up to Ferrers, who is smiling coldly from the shadows. William tries to move towards Ferrers, but finds himself falling to the ground, scrambling across chairs, unable to get close enough. Ferrers closes and locks the door, moves Robin's sword just out of William's reach, and lightly tosses the gauze to him. Ferrers moves back to the desk and picks up the edict.
As per orders of this edict, the last signed act of the previous sheriff of Nottingham, before he was slain, as was his predecessor, the Sherwood Forest will be razed to the ground, commencing tomorrow morning, and the end of this rebellion once and for all.
William sputters a few final times on the ground and is dead. Ferrers watches him, picks up the poisoned cup, and pours any remaining liquid into William's face. He then drinks deeply from Robin's cup and gives Robin a disgusted once-over. He strolls to the portrait of Roger de Lacy on the wall, takes it down, and exits. Scene 9, Sherwood Forest, a road. An empty road in Sherwood Forest, down which come several guards. They carry small barrels, which are clearly very heavy.
That should be far enough for the road, don't you think?
Well, what's in these things anyways?
I don't know, but they'll burn for a good long time. Let's put the others deeper in. We'll run the fuses together and set them off on the road.
I can't believe we're burning down the whole forest.
It'll grow back. Them outlaws won't, though. Chop one of their heads off and they stay dead.
I heard that they killed Robin Hood. I mean, there isn't anyone even left to fight.
Burn it down anyways, just to be sure.
An arrow is heard whistling through the air, and it strikes the barrel that the guard is carrying. He screams out in shock.
Hey! What the...
Out of the woods comes the merry men, Little, Tuck, Arable, Marion, Stutley, and a figure dressed in Robin's iconic hood.
Another present from the sheriff. Thank you for the delivery, gentlemen.
Are you insane, shooting an arrow at this?
Oh, you'll be fine. Besides, I need you alive to send a message to the new sheriff.
Message? What message?
You let him know this isn't over. Not by a long shot.
What are you talking about? Who are you?
The hooded figure walks up to the guard and removes his hood. It's Will Scarlet.
Don't you know? I'm Robin Hood.
Black.
Justin, tell us when we're clear.
Is that it? Yeah, absolutely. Can you read those out to us? Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining and spending your Saturday evening with us in your homes. This is the first time we've any of us have ever attempted this, so it's kind of a fun thing to kind of get down. I want to give a shout out to David Chorley. He's the one who put all of that underscore together. Fantastic work.
Really cool.
Dang. Yeah, that was amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you, David.
Amazing.
And yeah, so we can certainly open it up for questions. You can ask Nathan anything. I mean, he's the brain behind all of this, or any of the performers, or whatever. Shoot, what do you got for us, Justin? Honestly, finding a guy like Justin, who's the guy reading these questions, he's just kind of the maestro. He figured out how to work the sound stuff. We together kind of played with OBS, which is the software that we use to stream this and kind of as a production component. So that's why we got to do it. Otherwise, this is kind of a Zoom, just utilizing Zoom. So there's a lot of technologies we had to put together. I'd say that was probably the biggest thing. Keeping my daughter quiet during rehearsals was also another challenge, but she
That's me.
that's that one. But no, it was, that was the main challenge. Otherwise, all my favorite actors that I performed with that I got to cast in this weren't doing anything right now, so that was actually a really convenient thing.
Good question. In fact, one of the very first things that I did when I started researching to write this was to ask myself who was the Sheriff of Nottingham, because from almost every single movie or TV show or whatever, he's known as the Sheriff of Nottingham. Like I just asked people, what's his name, and nobody knew. So I did research into that and quickly found that in this period of between 1191 and 1192, it went from Roger de Lacy to William de Wendenall to William de Ferrers in a very, very short time. Not quite as short as we do in the play, but still in a matter of months. And to me, that was the very first inclination of, okay, well, here's where the story is, in that there is this rapid change in sheriffs. So it was important that I wanted to get a lot of that historically as accurate as was theatrically reasonable, let's say. I mean, it's not historically perfect, but it's respectful, I want to say, to history. And that's one of the reasons why there's so many characters named William. I wish I could change that. It's hard when you got a William de Wendenall and a William de Ferrers and a Will Scarlet and a Will Stutley. All of these were already named William. Obviously, I wanted to create as many female roles as I could, because there are not a lot in the Robin Hood canon. So Elena was my own creation. Arable was my own creation. In the novel, there are additional historical figures that I was able to pull in just to help beef up the fact that it's not all guys all the time. But I didn't really want to change any male characters to female. I thought that was kind of a cheating way to do it. I did not in this play include King Richard or Prince John as characters, but they are characters in the novel. So in the novel, I'm able to extend a lot further into the actual historical characters, as well as some earls and things like that were in the area. But yeah, pick the characters that were relevant to the story that I wanted to tell, and then grabbed as much of their actual history as I could to tell the story.
And I highly recommend that you guys buy the book, not just as book plug, but if you thought that this kind of story was epic or just a gritty twist on the Robin Hood story, the book goes into so much more detail on all of these characters and why they're good and why they're bad, and it's
book plug.
Yeah, book plug. Go for it. It's good.
And that's actually worth mentioning, is that the story that you saw is probably a third of what happens in the book. It really does get quite deeper.
I'd like to thank all of these performers and for everybody who's put some time into this. It's been a real fun challenge, getting everybody together. Well, there it is. Drinking a beer there, Mr. AJ, like that. No, I just getting a chance to work with you guys, and I loved the fact that I got to just all the up and down the West Coast. We've got people from California, we've got people from over by Seattle, we've got people in Oregon. We've got just all over the place. Tacoma, Port Orchard. Just it's fantastic. This is Pacific. It's the West Coast, fully premiere of this, so to speak. They did a reading of this. Another buddy of ours did this in Arizona a couple weeks ago. So I'm not the first by any means, but it is absolutely been an honor to work with everybody. So thank you so very much. That's a funny question. Some people printed it. It depends on what worked best for them in their eyes, and for them to kind of control things. So I know some people printed it. Some people increased the font. I personally have one on my screen that I scroll up and down on. So everybody kind of did their own thing as far as the screen. It's not anything other than a PDF of the script that we're scrolling through for me. And as far as rehearsals went, that kind of varied. We only had 2 read-throughs, but I broke off with a variety of the performers, either individually or as a group throughout. So we just kind of peppered it in. I decided to do this 2 weeks ago, so it wasn't a huge, but I had no idea the technical stuff. So the majority of that stuff was technology focused, trying to figure out exactly how to do what I needed to do. Or maybe it was 3 weeks ago. Anyway, we didn't really get started until like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I'd say maybe all together we did 2 full read-throughs, and the rest were individual work sessions.
Ooh, good question. So I would say I have 2. My favorite movie is the Russell Crowe Ridley Scott movie, which I think gets the tone really, really well as far as what I like in a Robin Hood. But I think that the script suffered from not giving the audience enough of the Robin Hood that they wanted, which is something that I was really cognizant of in writing this. I wanted to make sure that you still got the really canon Robin Hood things. I also really like the Robin of Sherwood TV show. I think that one, as far as like the political side of it nails it quite well. It's still pretty black and white as far as good guys and bad guys, but I like that it gets a little bit more complicated there. And then, of course, I like watching the cartoon with my son because he likes sword fighting. Like it's such an interesting thing. Do we have any real life examples of someone like a Robin Hood who so altruistically gives everything of himself, steals everything and just gives it away? Like he's so irrationally good in most stories. And that's what I wanted to figure out. Like, is that actually a realistic character? And that's part of what the deconstruction here was that I don't think that is a realistic character. I don't know why someone would do that. There's got to be some personal motivation, and I've never gotten an explanation of why a Robin Hood would exist. For the Merry Men, it makes sense. They're fighting back. They're getting money. They're getting paid. They're loved. But for Robin to come back and join this fight, I was always like, I don't get it. And so that was an important thing I wanted to implement, was that Robin doesn't know what's driving him forward. It gets a little bit more detailed in the book. He's got a relationship with a brother that he's responsible in some ways for letting down, and that really kind of drives his character of not wanting to let people suffer if he can stop it. But still, there's something inside of him that's driving it, and yeah, doing nothing is what most people would do. And I want to, and what changes that for Robin? I don't know. It's a question that's always bugged me. My hat's off to the cast. Great, amazing job, everyone.
Thank you for writing such great things for us to work with.
Thank you for reading it. It's always an honor to hear it performed, especially so well.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Eric.
Thank you for making that phone call to me, Eric. We were happy to be a part of this.
Hey, my pleasure. I mean, it was like herding cats half the time, but other than that, it was great.
Let's do it live on stage.
Plan.
Yeah. When some of this is done, I'm going to try to find a way to do this live. So it'll be a thing.
I want to do that fight choreography.
Yeah, I would refer to an expert on that, but absolutely, that'll be fun. All right. I guess we can sign off. Thanks again, everybody. What an amazing adventure, and what a smashing success.
Thank you. This was fun.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Have a
night.
wonderful night, all of you. Thank you so much.
Can I sleep now?
Och svadin jesmikedi, o hi julin lärt. Hiri varu vi, hiri varin jeho, elendain, o hi julin Maşıkmaz guhta ganye, maşlapi guhta nyemin, o hi yulinlet, hiri varu vi, hiri varin yeho. O hi julinlet, Maschen tjesk to chajnen gjane, Maschen ronje to noch